Today's guest is the most canceled man in comedy.
Slavery is a choice. If you're dealing with a population where they say competition is the only sin, you want people to choose that. Like, oh no, I'm nothing. I'm a speck of dust in an infinite vacuum spinning, and my ancestors are retarded monkeys.
The son of two professors in upstate New York, he started his career at the Renaissance fairs, taking tomatoes to the face for 9 hours a day.
I mean, statistically, Stephen Hawking living 50 years is 0%. So like the smartest man in the world that just decoded that there's no God has a brain disease so bad he can't speak, but yet he's watching midgets do math on Epstein Island, like, no.
Eventually, he became one of Adam Sandler's go-to comics, starring in countless movies, TV shows, and his own primetime sitcom until 2017, when he made one tweet that sparked the end of his career.
I could end billion-dollar propaganda campaigns with one sentence, and that really pissed people off.
In this episode, we'll explore the patterns he got canceled for noticing, expose the word magic he says powerful people use to keep you trapped, and question whether the truth actually set him free or instead cost him his sanity.
The spell behind all the spells is that you are not enough. Because if you know you're enough, if you know you're created properly, you're way less likely to be...
Owen Benjamin. Welcome to the Jack Neel Podcast.
Yeah, I love when you reached out. I like your podcast. I was listening to the one about you got me interested in travel agency.
Really?
Like that one with the travel agent, I'm like, that's pretty interesting. And I would never think that's interesting. Like, I like that pod a lot. I was like, rich people travel agent. That must have some great stories. You know?
Yeah, it's funny that people that work with rich people usually have the best stories. Like we did like a club promoter or something, and he had some really good stuff as well.
Yeah, because they're like insane people, you know? And the one you just did with Tucker, I was blown away with that. I thought that was amazing.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah. Owen, at one point in your career, you were starring in Adam Sandler movies, had your own sitcom, and were a regular guest on Joe Rogan until 2017. You've since been banned from every major social media platform, payment platform, and even had to build your own servers to have a voice online.
Yeah, I was banned from stuff people don't even know exists. Like, I was banned from D Live, like Trovo. No one knows that. Podbean. I'm not really as much anymore, though. I've been like super happy lately because the vibe is like pulled back, and now I get to just enjoy the ride. But for a while there, it was nuts. Like, I was banned from all theaters. People don't think that's possible, but like, it's not that I could, like, I understand if people don't want to book me because I'm too hilarious, right? I would book it and pay for it and sell my own tickets, and then they would cancel it, like, over and over again. And that's when I started thinking conspiratorially, because I'm like, how is that possible? Like, don't they want to make money? Like, I've never been accused of a misdemeanor. You know, I'm like, I go from being repped at CAA and being known for the guy that gets along with everybody to being this, like, exile in the wilderness. And now I'm back to people are like, man, you're so hopeful. And I haven't even changed that much. It's like 3 years ago, I'm saying this stuff that people are saying now, and I'm this like, oh, you're a madman. And now people are saying it so much that people think that I'm like this hopeful, optimistic white pill guy. And I'm like, I'm saying the same thing.
So what exactly did you say that made you the most canceled comedian?
It was, I made fun of David Hogg for the gun stuff. I said, I'm not going to take advice about my family's protection from a guy that can't grow pubes. And they said, I got banned from Twitter for that, for sexualizing a child.
So who's David Hogg?
Oh, you don't remember that? It's who they rolled out. He was like one of these shooting, events. And he was a child victim. And he was like, everyone has to give up their guns. And I know how they do that. You front load, like Stephen Hawking in a wheelchair. No one can criticize his madness. Or like Helen Keller's deaf, dumb, and blind. So her thoughts on eugenics and socialism, you can't question. It's like, I know they use children where it's like right now with the Erica Kirk, like the widow. And so as a former heckler, and I understand wizard spells, I'm like, okay, then just make fun of that. Like, he's not even in the room. He's 17, and my point is valid. I'm like, Vice just published minor attracted person article. Like, they're trying to normalize pedophilia. They're saying I sexualize a 17-year-old for pointing out that he's not a man and can't talk to me as a man, right? And then I said, Caitlyn Jenner was Woman of the Year, hasn't been a woman for a full year. And now people all think that's a Dave Chappelle joke. I said that's 6 years prior. And then I did the whole LGBT bit where I'm like, it started with the L's, and the L's just wanted a Subaru and a knick-knack. And then you got the G's, and they're a lot more into real estate. And the B's, they'll fuck anybody. Like Dave's whole bit I did 6 years earlier. And then, because they were launching Caitlyn at that point, and that's when I thought the world had gone nuts. I'm like, we're comedians. Bruce Jenner may have just cut off his penis. Like, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen. The Wheaties guy on the Kardashian show is wearing a dress, and I'm like looking at guys that 6 months earlier are doing these bits, and then everything just shifted. And I'm like, guys, I don't like change like you guys. I'm not motivated by like money and status and stuff. I'm like, I really just want to be funny. And they got so threatened by then they started attacking, and normally people just back down. But I know how bullies work, and that's the best way to get me to like never back down is I'm like, I can't apologize when I'm not sorry. Like, what am I sorry about? Is David Hogg a man to tell me to not have a gun? Like, what am I sorry about, I'm like, Lena Dunham just said she wished she had an abortion. I'm like, are you not offended by that? I'm like, what are the rules? And so oddly, it like sucked at the time and it was very painful. And there was a lot of like what I perceived as betrayal and financial stuff and all that. But looking back, it's like the best thing that ever happened because I got off the road and had 4 children that it's like the best thing ever. If I was on the road, pandas only ovulate 3 days a year. Women, it's like 1 day a month. I would have missed a lot of ovulations. And then I had to build my own platform. And then I just started farming. I never would have done that. But I'm like, I'm not wearing a mask during COVID. And if you don't let me in the grocery store, I will have food, And I started teaching classical piano again. And then the world shifted again. And now I'm like, people look at me like I'm fine. And I'm like, and I don't hold any resentment. I think that's pretty important now is like no hard feelings. I get it. People get scared.
And just to put it into perspective, like how much were you making roughly at the peak of
at
your
the
career?
Sitcom, I was making like 30 grand a week. Like, yeah. And that like, nowadays people make a ton, but back then I was like a high level working comic. I was in the mural at the Improv. I was never like a huge star guy, but I was like, as a craftsman, very respected. I like would do big events. I would host award shows with DiCaprio and you know what I mean?
How old were you when all this kind of went down?
I was in my 30s. It was 2016 and 17. I think the Trump thing really shook everyone. And then BlackRock started funding overseas movies a lot. And all these comedians just complied. Some didn't. But I'm like, we're the guys that are supposed to make fun of this. Like, we're not supposed to make this much money. Like I remember I in 2013, I did an hour special for Comedy Central and I got paid $100,000. And like now people are getting millions from Netflix because they got the whole, the money printers going in there. But like, I remember being like, this is crazy. Like I should make like $210 a year maybe. I'm like, good. But like 900, like I'm retarded. Like I'm just making, and then I realized that the value is the social engineering where like as a comedian, low to mid 6 figures. Yeah, I'm good at my job, but like you're worth millions if you shut up at the times they want you to shut up. And I'm not going to do that because I'm not gay.
Do you think there was any messaging that you were pushing like unknowingly?
Oh yeah. I pushed tons that's the thing. I'm not even self-righteous. I've been wrong like a ton. I just admit it when I'm wrong. Like, I look back and because I used to think like drinking was awesome. Like I'd be like, man, dude, how great is it to just get hammered? Like all kinds of shit, man. Yeah, I was like verging on nihilism for a good chunk of my life, but I was never like one of those wicked guys that like hated people or like beauty or, the sound of a child's laughter. I just was like, who cares? Like I was never anti-gay or anything until they literally went at the kids like the joke said they were never going to do. Because like, I never cared what people did, but I'm like, you can't put a billboard of a guy with a boner right next to a school and say that's a valid lifestyle. Like that's damaging,
Right.
It's like saying it's cool to be an alcoholic, It's like, or like to eat too much, which is my thing. I can really snack with the cookies, especially on a farm. And it's like, no, everybody does their thing. But as the great Norm Macdonald said, no one's ever said, I want to make love to your ass. It's about dominance, It's like, you can love a man. You can love a man so much you don't want to give them like rectal trauma. You know what I mean?
So
Feel free to cut any of this. I can really, because the funniest thing, this isn't actually offensive. I'm just being so autistically literal that people are like, whoa, but that's literally what it is.
What I'm curious of here is something more recent and that I seem like would be a little more, what's the word? Like pungent to people listening to a podcast on YouTube right now is you had 3 episodes on Joe Rogan's show. Like, how did you find out that Rogan had deleted all the episodes you guys did?
I don't even know. I just was so disgusted. But now looking back, no hard feelings. I get it. That's a weird world to live in.
Did he call you?
No. It's all good. It's like, that's a circle where you got to do stuff. And maybe he didn't like the episodes, but
3 episodes.
Yeah, and they were good. I mean, the third one was a little weird. Because I was starting to be a little awkward with like Kurt was going a little wild and they were trying to be like, because they didn't really know how to say to gatekeep me because they couldn't quote anything. Because my jokes, when you quote them, this is why Wikipedia had to keep deleting stuff because they're jokes. Like I'm not even making dramatic political claims. I'm like, Barack Obama stole my bike. Like someone will be like, look how racist this is. And like normal, like alive people just laugh. And they're like, do you not understand that that's just like funny? Like what? Or I said, I don't want slavery to come back, but I kind of do. So Sean King admits he's white, like stuff like that. And they're like, oh, you're pro-slavery. And I'm like, well, with the debt system, we're all kind of there now. You just don't want to admit it. And then I get a little too intense.
If you had to boil it down to one joke, though, that was like the reason for your cancellation. Like, what do you think was the thing that people were afraid that would spread?
It was that I could end billion-dollar propaganda campaigns with one sentence, and that really pissed people off. Like the pound me too joke that's now like been memed billions of times. Like the dramatic irony that I don't understand. It's not a hashtag, it's a pound. And I'm like, pound me too, ladies, way too aggressive, way too sexual. I got kicked off Patreon and Airbnb. Like I owned a house that I was renting on Airbnb under my wife's name. And they said they didn't want to work with someone that mocked the victims of sexual assault. Meanwhile, women that have experienced sexual assault are like, thank you for making fun of this charade, because it's just a joke about the word pound. And I'm like, you have race on your platform right now. Like, what? And then I'm like, oh, I get it. Because the threat, because I don't have like a lot of violent tendencies. I'm not very political. I'm not even that ambitious with business stuff. I'm ambitious with art. But like, I was like, I always thought it was this big misunderstanding. Like, no, I'm not threatening, guys. I'm just like hilarious. But I am threatening because I show that like you can be productive outside of a monopoly. And now I get why they're terrified of that. And I promote children. Because the main thing is population reduction. It's like, don't have kids. Oh, if you have a child, the seas will rise. And it's like, no, dude. I said family is wealth, money is debt. And they like freaked out. Like family is your wealth. I can make labor force with my ween, right? People are like, there's no labor in the future. I'm like, I just made 4. They worked their ass off. It's like, I can't afford kids. I'm like, dude, they make me money. I'm like Fagin and Oliver Twist. And that's like, because, the evil of the world isn't an identity, it's a behavior. And they're envious of like life and like truth and joy. Like people on a yacht see me on a pontoon boat having a blast and they're miserable and they like get real mad at that. So they want to break it. It's like getting rid of bad. I bonded with Tucker about architecture. They see like beautiful domes made out of stone from Looksmaxxing. And they're like, let's bomb that and put up something disgusting. And that's what bothers me. I like beauty. I like people that are really good at things,
Yeah. So on the population portion, like, why do you think they don't want us to have kids?
Because family's wealth. Family is like, that's what you and Tucker talked about that I thought was so beautiful. When Tucker was like, the big lie is that there's a power above them. Like the narcissist is like, I'm the most powerful. So anything above them, like any father would do more for his wife and child than the banker, right? And so that purpose is so threatening to people that want you alone, addicted, your head swimming with lies, because then you'll do whatever. And it's like, I've never been a control guy. I'm like an improv guy. I like to see where things go. Control guys, it's a nightmare. It's the Tower of Babel. Every brick is like a life because you can't keep all the lies going. Every lie needs to be maintained forever. You can't just let the lies roll. You have to like constantly, like Helen Keller. They lay off the gas of Helen Keller for 5 years. It's a joke. She had a British accent. She couldn't hear anything. She's from Alabama. Couldn't hear anything since she was 6 months old. She's like, there's no blindness. I'm like, she's a British actress. Her eyes don't dart around. They said she could fly a plane and she wrote books on eugenics. I'm like, if you can't see and hear, you don't write books. Like, you're not speaking. Like, some lady's just doing this. Because why? What's the theology behind that? The miracle worker. They want to be gods. They want to be like, no, we made a miracle. We made this retarded lady. But I think she was an actress.
Right. Yeah, I've never really understood the Helen Keller one. Something I want to ask you about, and I think it's kind of a low IQ claim in general.
I think low IQ might be the way to go.
I mean, so I saw Rogan said on his podcast, the most recent time he talked about you, he said Joey Diaz broke you when he gave you an edible.
Right. Because this is what happens when you veer off course. They look at your skeletons, like how to shame you. You know?
Was that a big moment for you though?
Not really. Because I have like, my history's so clean, it's laughable.
Right.
It's like, I like to drink booze and high five. So they're like, so it was an interesting moment though. So I'm on Joey Diaz's podcast. I don't really consume marijuana, but I'm, when in Rome, you're with Joey Diaz, So I eat this. He's like, yo, dog, the Star of Death, dog. Try the Star of Death, dog. And I'm like, okay, man. Like, I'm down. And it was like 300 milligrams of THC, which I guess is like, they call it a heroic dose, right?
Right.
And so I'm like watching him and he's asking me these questions. He's like, oh, yeah. And he like starts morphing into like a demon kind of. But I wasn't like scared. I just couldn't really talk. And I just started like looking up. And imagine if we're doing a pod and I just stopped talking. And so then I go, yo, dude, I need some water. And then I just went home during the podcast. And then I kind of wanted to leave Los Angeles. But like in 2 days, I was fine. But for a while, for like 2 days, that's why I'm not like mad about it. Because it did give me a perspective. I was like, what the fuck is that? Because imagine Joey Diaz when you're that high. He's like a cartoon dog. He's like, yo, dude, when I was down in Florida, you're just like, whoa. And like, especially because I'm not like a weed guy. Yeah, so it's like, that's what broke me because I don't have that big scandal. Like, you look at my life and I'm like kind of boring. I like to build stairs and shit. Like, I've texted you stair pictures. I'm like, dude, look at these stairs. Like, I have weaknesses and I like mess up and stuff. But my big thing is a fucking pot brownie. Like, Joe Rogan does like DMT and talks to elves and shit. Like, who the fuck is he to judge me about a pot brownie with, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he kind of identified that as the moment that things changed for you. But I guess when you were starring in these movies, TV shows, did you already kind of have the belief systems that you have now? Or was there like a singular moment?
Well, I was just into like what I thought was true. Like every comic has to be looking at the truth. Because if you're not connected to the truth, you can't make a joke, right? So it's like music. You have to bounce it off the truth to make the irony, the hyperbole. Like, I'm actually a craftsman of comedy. I'm not like doing a thing, And so if I let go of truth, it's not even that I'm this noble martyr. I'm like, it's like cutting out your tongue if you're a singer. I'm like, I can't live with this new lie that there are bad words. Like a word has intention. That's why I went hard on that hill too. And I'm not even a guy that's like that into like those words. I'm just like, a word can't be bad. It's like saying a color is bad. Like, it's a word. It's just an agreed upon sound. Because I'm always focused at intention. Like, what's your intention? Because I'm big into communication. Like, I like to use words that people understand. That's why I wrote that book like that. Because I know a lot of my parents were in academia. And they there's a type of person that likes to sound smart for status, but they're not communicating. They want to get you to go, oh, I don't understand. So that means I'm just going to go with you. Where I'm like, I need consent from you. I want you to understand everything I'm saying.
Yeah, words shouldn't be gatekept, and like
exactly
reading levels shouldn't be gatekept either.
Right, some of the totally like now that when I was saying, I wasn't even joking. I'm like, dude, low IQ might be the move because like I used to think I was cool because I had high IQ, and now I'm looking at all these patsies all have high IQs, and I think high IQ can make you trappable with like models in your head. Like, they can give you like like the people that are the most scared about climate change, a lot of them have super high IQs and they'll like recite all this math. And I'm like, dude, it's all just like, and then I know low IQ guys that are like, they can just point shit out. They're like, that just sounds like bullshit, And I'm just like, because like going through that furnace that I went through with the cancellation, which is literally the definition of a Holocaust, is a burnt offering, right? That's what Holocaust means. That's why I used to sell mugs that said I survived the Holocaust. And there was a rainbow, and I got kicked off a payment processor for that. And now it would be fine. And I feel like I did. Everyone alive survived the historical event and their own personal Holocausts. But anyway, when you go through one of those things, you start seeing identities where you're like, I am the smart guy. I'm the guy people like. And like reputation can be an idol. And I try to really watch out for that now.
Reputation can be an idol. Tell me about that.
Yeah, because I was like, people like me in Los Angeles. I get respect. Like I'm considered a great comedian. And it was all like wiped. And then imagine like you're like a nice dude. Like I battle more with codependence than narcissism. I'm like, if you're happy, I feel happy, So they're like, you're now full of hate and you're evil. And I'm like, it hurt. It was like my identity, but that wasn't really me, Then you start learning what identity is and you're like, I see that trap with some of these white guys where they're like, we built the cathedrals. I'm like, bro, you can't build shit. Build some stairs with me. Come on.
No, it's true.
You're taking identity credit from shit you didn't do.
You recently told your story on Tucker's podcast.
Yeah.
And this book we have here, How to Slay a Wizard, opens with a series of questions. Why do we call it spelling a word?
Mm-hmm.
Why is cursive called cursive? And why do we broadcast a television signal?
Exactly.
What does language have to do with magic?
Everything.
Quick side note, something I thought was strange, and I have the stat here, it's 80% of people pay way too much for their car insurance. And for the people listening to the podcast right now, I hope you guys know that my goal is for you to either make money, save money, or find truth. So I found this useful tool. Basically, you just put in your zip code, how many cars you own, and it instantly shows you whether or not you could be saving money. It's super accurate, it's free, and the whole process takes less than a minute. So if you want to try it out and figure out if you could be saving money right now as we speak, just go to jackneel.com/auto or scan the QR code on screen. You can also hit the first link in the description, but anyway, guys, back to the podcast.
What does language have to do with magic?
Everything. Because magic needs you to believe it and do it. That's what you and Tucker were talking about that. It's like, speak like abracadabra, fiat. I speak it into existence. And just like what I was talking about with words can't inherently be evil, it's the belief around the word and the sigil, like the charged nature of the word, like this Nike swoosh. You look at the swoosh, you see Venus Williams, Michael Jordan, like all the things that you're programmed with emotion. Like when I was in college, I walked into someone's room and there was a giant swastika, but he was from India, right? So that swastika is charged totally different to like a Hindu or a Buddhist person. And so grammar is from grimoire, which is a book of spells, right? And so words like will get you to feel and believe, and then you act in a way that brings it into reality. It's like reverse engineering reality, where it's like, I was telling this to one of my Jewish friends. I'm like, you guys have been acting so persecuted for so long, you're kind of bringing it into reality now. Where it's like, if you use a word like the Patriot Act, right? So you have the emotion behind patriot. You have like Thomas Jefferson, Alex Jones, patriotic erection pills. You got like these feelings, but it's about surveillance and like all these non-patriotic things. And those ironies are how spells work, where you put a modifier, you use a word that gets it to go past your gate, right? And that's why socially people don't like to stop and say, what do you mean by that? And I do that all the time. When someone's like melting pot, I'm like, what do you mean by melting pot? What does that mean to you? Does that mean like people shouldn't keep their way of life, right? Like what does melting pot mean?
People love buzzwords.
Like what is cis?
The spell thing, I've not heard many people talk about this online, which I think is interesting, at least to audiences of young men or older men. And I just want to understand it from a like series of behaviors or like a series of actions, like maybe an autistic way of explaining it to me. Like if you were going to explain what a spell is to your son, like your youngest son, like what would you say?
I'd talk about how spelling, like how mind control works. When you have trauma, you have, I wouldn't say this to my son, but an autistic friend like you. No, but it's like you have roles where you do archetypes. That's how Rome was ruled. You know, you have the archetypes of the hero and the fool and all that stuff. And then people just start going along with it. And you also have like social pressures, you have hypnotism, you have trance and all that. And underlying it is identity, right? So that's why I make fun of whites as much as black. I make fun of all identities because I'm trying to help people see it's not them. So like as a ... right? So now you're saying the I am, like I am this. I'm now connecting my existence to this. And living men and women have real power with will, you know? So it's like what we can actually create and do things. And so a spell will get in your mind that let's think of a good one. Safe and effective, right? Safe and effective. The question I would ask is for who at what? Safe for who? Effective at what? Is it population control? Is it sterilization, right? Is it like, because the spells have to have some truth in it because we resonate with truth. So with safe and effective, you don't want to kill your grandmother, right? So a spell would be, okay, World War I, the white feather. If you didn't want to fight in the war, they would give you a white feather, which meant you were a coward and women would treat you badly. That's the spell. You know, the AIDS spell. You have the ribbon that shows that you believe, and then you have the AIDS quilt, right? And then you have Fauci feeding you AZT, which all the symptoms are AIDS, right? So you take gay dudes that are partying way too hard, they're feeling a lot of shame, and they're like, yeah, I do feel kind of exhausted. It's definitely not the meth and the sodomy. It must be an exterior thing. I should get some help for that. I should get some pills. Yeah, I have a disease, and the pills get you sick. That's literally what AIDS was. And then you have the guy that survives it named Magic Johnson, like magical penis, like Matt and Greg Louganis. Same exact time. This sounds disjointed, but follow me. Same exact time, AIDS is a diet pill being advertised in the 80s. So they're like, AIDS will kill you. Swear to God, there's all these commercials going, have you tried AIDS? AIDS will get your figure, because I call it polarity seeding, where you get two contradictory things going so people get exhausted and they shut down. And the whole point of a spell is to give over authority. I'll let you handle it. Agency. That's why I had an agent, right? You have my agency now. You can speak for me.
Right.
Corporation, the words of the dead. You speak for me, right? And then that's the only way they get power. That's why I'm so optimistic. I'm like, they don't do anything. Like, I think the future is super bright. I know that it's daunting. You know, when you guys were talking about Palantir and, you know, that's why little things like I say Palanqueer and people get mad, but you just smiled. Like it takes the fang out. Because I grew up with gay and queer meant weak, right? It didn't mean like deep down, are you attracted to him? It just meant weak. It meant like, oh, I can't work outside today. It's raining. It's like, that's gay, right? It's shaming weak behavior. And so that's why they tried to pull that word out, because when you promote victim consciousness, you make slaves. You see what I'm saying?
So you're saying a spell is like a series of rhetoric designed at giving another person authority over the other.
Exactly. It's about slavery. That's why the thing that you asked me what I said, what Kanye said that blew the world away was not about Jews or anything. It's that slavery is a choice. Boom. That's when they were like, shut it down. He's insane, because it is a choice. Slavery is easy. You go, no, you decide everything and I will give you my labor. You make all the choices. I felt that way. Like I sometimes miss having an agent. I'm like, oh yeah, talk to the Jewish guy about the money. I don't care about that. He handles everything. I don't think about that. I don't need to fix my car. I don't need to grow my food. I don't need to raise my kids. It's easy, right? Slavery is a choice. And so if you're dealing with a population where they say competition is the only sin, Rockefeller, it's a quote, you want people to choose that. Like, oh no, I'm nothing. I'm a speck of dust in an infinite vacuum spinning, and my ancestors are retarded monkeys, right? Right? When you say it clearly, it's ridiculous. And it's not because I don't know the science. 186,000 miles or so, 240,000 miles away. The sun is 93,000 miles away. There's pulsars. I know what they're saying, but I also know why. And I don't think very many people are in on it. I don't think you need that many people at all.
Something I think would be useful for the entirety of this conversation. Are you familiar with, I'm not sure if you watched the entirety of Tucker's, not his podcast, but we talked about He said the X-ray theory, where like you look at things in their reverse contrast.
Dude, genius. I said that on Rogan. I said, I say things and the sonar beeps back at me and the lies are where I see where things are. And he was talking about that. When you look at the lies connecting, because why would someone behave that way? They're covering, like people covering something is where I see the problem. Like, for example, I would be a lot more willing to believe in the moon landing if people were like, I totally see why you think that. But no, actually, we went there, but I totally get why you think that. I mean, how can you do a tilt up 240,000 miles away in 1969? I'm like, live television with no camera operator. But we could, but no, it's the gaslighting. You're insane. You ate a pop brownie once. I'm like, nah. Like, I don't have a fear response. Maybe it's autism, but I'm like, interesting. Like, I don't go, oh, I should socially correct myself. I'm like, why is that not acceptable? You know?
It's interesting too that something I've noticed in terms of you jab your opponent to see where they jab back is like, if I say something in too like wordy, too intellectual, too like not emotionally driven of a way, nothing really happens. But it's like when I say something that is said in the right way, that's like when people are mad about it. You know what I mean? Like it just gets ignored.
But it's also effective. Rhetoric points at the truth. It's not true. Like, I can tell you have kind of a dialectic mind. You're like, if you just say the exact truth, people, they kind of like don't even listen. But if you say it a little charged, that's why I put race and identity and all these things, because it gives energy to something, but my dialectic isn't even like hateful. It's like the point I'm making works, but the energy spreads it.
Right.
And so what I consider evil is when they use rhetoric and they do a complete 180. Like when I say some of these things, family is wealth, money is debt. It's not exactly true, but it's rhetorically pointing at the truth. It's like mostly, because rhetoric can't be exactly true. Like the best rhetoric, it evokes emotion. It evokes a metaphor. There's an element of like novelty. It's like an art versus like just explaining. Like I could tell you wanted me to just exactly explain what a spell is. And I love that. But it's together as the communication where you have the core of the thing you're trying to say, but human beings, they like emotion, baby. Come on, you got to sell it with the red dress. That's why that cartoon kept going viral. They kept deleting it, kept going viral because it's just so true. And you can tell I don't hate anybody. You see that one with Pol Pot? So I do I'm just doing a rant, and this dude used to just animate all of them. And it's about an event in the 40s, but it's not even about is it true or not. It's about selling it as a brand. And so Pol Pot's like, I have a genocide. I kill millions of people with my gun. How come no one talks about it? It's like, because you got to make movies, baby. You got to get a girl in a red dress. You got shoes, And he's like, if you want to make lasting money on your genocide, you got to brand it, baby. You need to repetition. Everybody knows that they'd never leave their shoes at a party, right? Well, that's why it's piles of shoes. Because you can leave a jacket, eyeglasses and shoes. You never leave somewhere. You look at shoes, you go, the soul of a shoe. Like that's called Twilight language, right? Like Ellen DeGenerate, Bernie Madoff with your money, right? It's like, you don't think these things matter, but they do. Death is near. It's like, sounds like it on a subconscious level. You're like, right? Like,
because the spells only work if they play with your identity a little bit.
Yes. That's why, dude, the last chapter of my book, I don't mind spoiling. It's is the spell behind all the spells is that you are not enough. Because I did this map of like, I want to get to primary lies. Because you have these lies, and I know plenty of good people that believe tons of lies. I still, right now, definitely believe a lie that I don't know, right? And it's like...
I think about that a lot.
Yeah, right. Like right now, what is it that I don't see, right? Or right now, my thing is to try to just always be grateful and not like bitch and complain and say, like, that's what I keep catching myself doing. Where I'm like, dude, is my thumb really that hurt? Like I'm breathing with my family in paradise. You know what I mean? But the primary lie to get everyone to believe this stuff is the same in market. Oh, dude, spellcasting is marketing, right? Is you get someone to think they're not enough, right? You're not the best a man can get. You need Gillette, right? You need, like, you're broken. You're an accident, right? And then you believe all this stuff. Like the world is chaos. This dude in a wheelchair that definitely died 50 years ago, that definitely, he has a neurological disorder and he's the smartest guy in the world, right?
Yeah.
Stephen Hawking. You see that bit where he's like, talking in the translator that I did. It got like 30 million views or so. Like people are.
Do you think he's a real person, Stephen Hawking?
I don't know logistically how they do that, but I don't think the original Stephen Hawking is the guy. Dude, the average ALS is 5 years and you're dead. Not only that, it affects your brain. So like the smartest man in the world that just decoded that there's no God has a brain disease so bad he can't speak, but yet he's on Epstein Island, right? Because one thing I see about lies is they start piling on perversions. So a guy that can only move his pinky for 50 years is watching midgets do math on Epstein Island. Like, no.
He also like cheated on his wife and then cheated on the girl that he remarried.
Yeah, there's no chance. They're just piling on emotional rhetoric. They're like, and he's banging and there's violence, you know.
Because it's embarrassment and the embarrassment makes it more believable.
And they feel they own the brand, so they can just play with it like a toy, right? They're like, no, we own Stephen Hawking.
Do you think he's a puppet?
I don't know how that works. He could be. I mean, he's literally just does this. Like there's almost no movement. But if I say it's like a wax puppet, it's like, that's pretty crazy sounding. Like I can self-reflect, you know, like, is that not a real guy? Is that like a puppet? But like, or is it a guy playing, or is it just another ALS guy or like somebody in a mask? I don't know. I mean, statistically, Stephen Hawking living 50 years is 0%, right? So it's like, you know, COVID, it's like 1 in 100 people. So shut down the economy. So if something's 0%, I can't be skeptical of that, right? Like imagine if someone's like, oh yeah, he got pancreatic cancer at 3 and he's 90. You'd be like, how did he do that? Like, do we have a cure? They'd be like, oh no, that's anti-Semitism, right? It's like, because, and another thing is the messaging is so mind controlling. It's like, there is no God. You are a mistake. It's all chaos, right? So why would someone do that? It's why would an abusive parent say, you're nothing, you're stupid, no one will ever love you. Because it's power. Because if you know you're enough, if you know you're created properly and there is like a benevolent God, however you view that, I'm not even like banging on books or anything, you're way less likely to be controlled. You have something to live for. You're like, there is a fair balance in this world. This world is a gift. If it's nihilism, you're like, why not chop off my dick, right? Why not give you all my money? Why not pretend that we're playing golf on the moon? Like, because nothing matters. The theory of relativity, nothing matters if everything's relative. The dude banged his cousin.
Talking about Einstein?
Yeah. Dude, he procreated with his cousin and then banged her sister. And I think he like put him in a mental institution. That guy's a piece of shit. E equals MC squared. Einstein equals married cousin twice. I don't know if that's a spell, but I just think that's funny.
We'll talk about Einstein in a bit.
Actually, he sucks so bad. But I can't stand Einstein.
I was curious if you'd be able to demonstrate this concept for me. Like if you were going to use words to make people afraid of you or use words to manipulate people's emotions right now, like how would you go about that?
Give me a scenario.
Like, okay, so imagine you want everyone listening to this to think that their partner or the person they love the most doesn't care about them. So
right.
if I asked you this question, what's a sign the person you care about the most doesn't really care about you? What might you say?
Well, I mean, if I was like a manipulative piece of shit, I would start citing stats. I'd be like, you know, the stats are 71% of women are actively talking to their ex-boyfriend. Like just start seeding all that stuff. And then do basic behaviors that women do and say that clinical studies, like appeal to an authority, clinical studies, 4 out of 5 women, whatever it is, like the Edward Bernays shit, that behavior means something bad. And since all women are doing that, and then if you get mad at them while they're doing it, it will create that world. Think about that. That's how a spell works. So like, let's say I say that if she's on her phone, that means she's, you know, I do something where you just get slightly paranoid, right?
Right.
And so then you start being like, what are you doing over there? And then in her mind, she's like, what's up with Jack, man? You know, and then she starts detaching a little bit, which like makes it like you think you're right. So then you start changing and then you actually start like distancing.
Right.
That's the spell, right? That's how it works. Like I see it with like, even though I do a lot of provocative race stuff, I see stuff like that racially all the time. Like if you let's say you treat a black guy like he's definitely a criminal and he's not, he's just going to be like, he's going to start getting pissed off and then he's going to start feeling like it's unfair. And eventually there's a chance he'll be like, I might as well. You've given me this identity.
Exactly.
Like I felt that way. I felt twinges of that when I'm the man of hate. I'm like, who fucking cares? You already gave me this identity. What's the point? Like I will just, then I hate you. You know, and then I'm like, but that's the reaction is like they're trying to, that's when I got more loving. That's the true anti-Semitism is just productivity and love. Like anti-Semitism, Semite is Arabs.
Right.
So that spell kicked off in Seinfeld. No one was using that before the episode where his uncle kept calling everyone an anti-Semite. Laugh track is appeal to consensus, right? So you're like, am I the only one that doesn't find this funny? Everyone else is laughing. Like we're trained that like if we're kicked out of the community, that's like the worst thing ever. Everyone's laughing but me, so this must be funny. And he keeps being like, you're an anti-Semite. And it was seen as a joke. It was like retarded. Like, what is anti-Semite? No one even knew what the word meant. And Semite means Palestinian, right? So it's like, I see when things get real twisted, it's always the opposite. Like the root of the word racist is another insane inversion. General Pratt and the Union Army, they're slaughtering American Indians. Let's say in Iroquois, we're like, we pray to Coyote, we speak this way. They called that racist. They're like, if you don't melt with the whites, like if you keep your race, that's evil. So like the identity of being an American Indian in a confederacy, and then Trotsky ran with it. He's like, we can run with this with the Russian Empire. We get the Estonians and the Latvians, and then if you get that tension control versus a confederacy where you can all sit down as people with a way of life, but you all have equal souls and you all like respect each other based on your morality, you're fine.
You're saying that racism was coined when Native Americans, like generals were trying to get them
to kill Native Americans.
It wasn't to get them to like get into our population or like melt and merge with us.
It was saying you no longer have your way of life. And don't get me wrong, I'm not backing the wagon burners. You know what I mean? I'm just kidding. But like, it's just ironic. It's just, when you look at it mathematically, it's an irony that like an Elizabeth Warren type who's claiming to be 1/300th Cherokee, the word racist was to eliminate the Cherokee identity. It's not, but it wasn't to say you're better than people. Like, because I am actually against someone saying, because of my skin color, I'm inherently better than, usually that means the person's a loser, right? Because they're trying to appeal to something they haven't done. It's like parasitic behavior. But you have a right to say, I have kin, I have history, I have a language, I have a way of life, and I don't want to change that. And that's what racist originally meant. Just like anti-Semite is an inversion. All this shit is an inversion. It's kind of funny. One reason I can see this is because it's written like jokes. Like the devil's a comedian. I'm like, I see this as like joke structure, you know?
On that portion, you said something along the lines of that there has to be some truth to some of these spells.
Absolutely. Always.
Why?
Because this is the good news. I think we're all naturally pulled to the truth. I think the human condition, although sometimes we can feel like, oh man, I suck, or like, why do people do these horrible things? I think most people want work that they can be proud of. They want to be respected. They're pulled towards morality. They're pulled towards the hero story, you know? And so unless you have that resonance with something true, it's nakedly absurd. It's like, but that's how I see Stephen Hawking, right? Like I see so much as nakedly absurd. Like sometimes I try to be pragmatic, but I'm like, guys, like this is fucking retarded. Like, like what do you do? Like margarine, right? They're like, butter's bad for you. We're going to give you all these chemicals that literally give you cancer and you're going to pay us. And like, what? Like Bill Gates gets awards for lowering the population of the world at scale. Like that's what the population award from the UN is. And he's a convicted criminal who has designed a system where he creates viruses and then sells software to get rid of viruses. Why would you inject something in your body from that guy? Like that's like it's like a guy from a shadow, like, it's like, what? You know what I mean?
It's interesting. Yeah, it seems like the people who present some of these ideas are like the antithesis to the person who should be presenting the ideas that you would listen to.
Because they're empty vests. That's why I don't even blame them. I think the higher up you go, the more they're like not even there. They like aren't thinking or doing. They're like gone. You know, I don't like imagine if Bill Gates can't be like us. He can't Imagine Bill Gates is like, I don't think pandas are real. They'd probably kill him in 10 minutes. Like, that's why money isn't wealth. They take all his money immediately. Like, look at Kanye. He says 3 things. He's no longer a black billionaire. Bang. Because it is illusionary. It's like you get to have like this money, but we'll take it. But then if you actually are productive and apply service, and I saw that because I didn't crash. I'm actually doing pretty well now because like I kept thinking like, what's going to make my audience laugh? How am I going to teach people? Like, and now I have loyalty and people pay me, and it's like, it's great. Like, because they can't control the thing that was threatening about me is I realized you could do a stand-up comedy special in a field of grass. Because the spell is theater, comedy club. I'm like, dude, my audience built me as like a stage, and it looks as good as a Netflix thing, and it's in a hayfield in Missouri in the middle of nowhere. Like, that's shocking to people that run on. Dude, they put a square on their head and wear a dress, and they're like, this makes me smart. I have a square on my head. Like a square on your head. And I have a college degree, but you put a fucking square on your head.
Why do you think it's a square?
It's a mason board. That's why when people are always making fun of masons, I'm like,
that was just random. I didn't expect anything there.
No, it's a mason board. It's all like masonry is the whole thing. It's like all universities are all masonry. And some of it isn't even bad. It's like the metaphor of you're building a structure of the mind or whatever, and then you have the nefarious aspects. But yeah, that's where you put this is why being a jack of all trades is cool, because I've done masonry. You have this fucking square, and that's where you put your shit that you make everything. And then I looked into it, and it literally is that.
I don't know how to ask about this properly, but when you think about the people doing these spells,
yeah,
like how would I figure out where it's coming from? Like, who knows how to do this?
Well, that's the thing. It's you can locally look at it, and I do think it's spiritual, like what you and Tucker. I just can't explain it, but I think it's a world you can't see. But I don't know how to like describe that or like be an expert at that. But like,
do you share the similar view to Tucker that it's angels and demons and people are channeling those things?
Those are, you know, I grew up in a town where the Catholic churches were nuts. So it's like, I understand if people recoil from words like angels and demons, but like, yeah, I think there's entities you don't see that either have benevolent or malevolent intentions. I think sometimes like what he was saying about, you know, the Greeks called it a muse, you know, it's like to inspire means to have a spirit in you, you know, it's like, and that happens to me all the time. Like as an artist, like that whole Pol Pot cartoon, I don't even remember. I just was saying the dialogue as it happened and someone just did it. Like I've done that with classical music and stuff. Where's it coming from? You know, dude, and then you get into the brain, the top brain people don't know what the fuck a brain is. They're like, it's so funny. My buddy just was at the Mayo Clinic for some crazy shit. And the guy's like, we don't know. It could be this or maybe not. It's like, I think it's a receiver. So from my experience, and this is why I was having a great chat with Bill Zarian and Tucker and some of these guys that have been in those circles, and I've been in those circles, they're not as impressive as people think. Like some of those top guys are like, in my opinion, they're vessels. There's some impressive, very rich people, but some of those guys are just like, they just seem so vacated that like some high level shit is in there.
Like what?
I don't know. Like an intention. Because for me, like evil to me on a human level is short. It's like, oh, I'm scared. I'm going to eat the brownie. You know, it's like short. It's not like a 150-year plan to do some crazy shit. You know, human evil is typically fear and weakness, right? That's what sin means. Miss the mark, debt, weakness. There's a type of evil where it's like, one thing I don't equate with evil is patience. Like human evil doesn't like sit around and wait, right? They're like, you know? And so what is that? I don't know. Maybe there's no demons or angels, but like to me, logically, it seems like an architecture, you know? And I think like not sleeping enough brings that in. That's why I think meth is so fucked for people. Like I think if you don't sleep enough, you start being like, why was that thought in my head? You ever have that? You don't sleep for like a day and a half and you're in a grocery store. And sometimes I'll think like, oh, that guy sucks. Just for no reason. And I'm like, I'm not that guy. What the fuck was that?
Right.
Like, where was that thought from? You know Jerry Marzinski?
No, I don't.
He's a psychiatrist that was in prisons. You know, there's a movie called, what's that called? It was Notorious or Nefarious?
Yeah.
Angel Studios. That was basically his life. So he goes in there, he starts asking the schizophrenics what the voices are saying, and no one else is asking them. And he's like, dude, they're corroborating. Like, this is weird. And he started realizing that they're like, two schizophrenics could see the same shadow guy. And he's like very secular. And I had him on my podcast. It was fascinating. It's like sometimes, and then they like drugs and sleep deprivation, exhaustion, right? Working so hard, contradicting thoughts. Because when you get tired, you're like, you give away agency. Oh, why didn't someone else take the wheel? I'm tired. And then I don't know what the system is. I don't know. I would love to have more of like a religious doctrine that I know is true. I have like deep faith, but I don't know the structure. I don't trust the Catholic priest, but I think their demon shit is more valid than a lot of the psychiatry shit.
You at least think it's a helpful framework.
Oh, yeah. I think it's way better than the current DSM whatever framework. Yeah, like I have a buddy that was a crack addict that's like, he swears he knows the whole thing. He's like, there's low-level demons that are just like, shut up. They were just like impulsive. And then there's higher up ones that are like, I want you to go to this address, And there's almost like a hierarchy of them. And then I think angels are subtle and they're synchronistic, where you just like, it's like a little wink. You just see something, you're like, how did that all work out? I think angels aren't loud. I think it's just like these subtle beauties that happen,
That's an interesting one. I wanted to ask you, I usually don't challenge people on their beliefs, but
challenge me, bro. Come on.
I think you're one of the only people I've had on that has this belief that debt is slavery, and you have this belief that the big trick is making you believe that you're not enough.
Yeah.
But also, you seem to have a monotheistic belief in God, and a lot of people point to the fact that original sin.
I'm not an original sin guy, and I've had debate. Yeah, my mom was almost going to be a nun. She went to like a Jesuit master's in theology. She was like, she said that when her first son was born, she was like, this baby isn't flawed. And so when I was baptized, she called it entrance into Christian community. And I understand that we live in a fallen world and like, that we can sin and we have the ability because of free will to be real fucked up. And maybe that's a form of original sin or something. But I don't think we're born. I don't think God made a mistake with our structure. I actually don't have that contradictory belief. And I've had people be like, so that means you're not Christian. I'm like, fine, I don't have identities. Like I actually resonate a lot with the Bible, but like if someone wants to call me that because I don't think a baby needs to have water sprinkled on his head from a guy I know for a fact molested my neighbor, like, okay, like fact. And it's like that doesn't mean they're all like that. I actually respect Catholic architecture, music, and a lot of it. But it's like, I don't need him. I think baptism should be choice because like, it's kind of like circumcision. It's like, if you can't choose it, it's like, dude, kind of my call, right? You're just coming at the ween.
This is an interesting one for you. You talk about this idea that it's not any one group. You talk about the fact that it's like a behavior that is, I don't know, doesn't have the best interest of other people in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you think is the cause of that behavior? And like you said that if things are only funny when there's truth there, then like how can stereotypes exist? Like, do you think it's deep-rooted cultural programming that leads to certain behaviors? Christians all read the Bible and maybe there's some subliminal things in there that leads to consistent behaviors of those groups. Like, what do you think?
I think each race has predispositions to different types of evil, but most stereotypes are just based on a combination of genetics and culture, I think. But usually when I'm doing a bit, it's not even like a condemnation of the race. Like, for example, like if you have like black predisposition, it's more flow state where it's like, just take the bike, right? And white would be like, cuck and act like a vampire, right? It's like, and I think it's weather related where it's like, if you have an 8-month winter, the worst thing possible is to be kicked out of the tribe. So you're going to go along with the most evil shit and you're going to hoard everything like a little vampire, right? And that's like white, and that is evil. Like that white evil of being like a coward and like a hoarder is crazy. And then I think more equatorial regions where you have food everywhere and there's never a winter, the evil would be more like, just grab that shit, like now, right? And then you have like I have some Mexican buddies. I'm like, you guys are really into blood and weird shit with like, like hanging someone from a bridge. Like to me, that's like pretty intense, but I get it. They like the shock, the trauma. But I think each race isn't, like no race is more bad or good. It's just a different Achilles heel. Like what Tucker was talking about, how he doesn't battle greed. Like, I don't battle envy at all. I love when people are awesome. I battle gluttony and occasionally wrath. I used to battle lust. I don't at all now. But some people, that's all they battle is like lust and envy. I don't ever feel envy, but but when my wife bakes shit that's organic, I'm like, no, it's organic. I'll eat fucking all of it, And that's no good, like gluttony's it's kind of like a white guy move where you're like, I'm going to eat all this shit. Winter's coming. And so that's why it has to be behavioral, because evil switches hats constantly. They rebrand, right? As soon as you think like the bad guys are the Quakers, switch the hat. It's the Protestant. Like the Protestants and the Catholics fought in Ireland and they were convinced the other side was the bad guy, right?
Right.
The minute you start saying they're the bad guy, you're already participating. Like, what part of you is the thing you think you hate? Right? That's like the Muslims call it, like, that's what jihad kind of means, is the internal war, even though some of them go nuts. But it's like, what part of you is weak is the real fight. That's the evil. And then when the evil presents itself, like, do you want this? If you've dealt with your own thing, you don't engage in it. Like, you get rid of mice by covering the grain. You can't like go with the mice. You eliminate the environment that is conducive to that. So we really are responsible for it. Like, they aren't doing anything to us. Like, we don't need to watch pornography. It's like, you have to like click and watch. It's like, because as soon as you say you made me do it, you give them God status. Like, you give them agency. You go, that's why it's great to call out people and break the liability shield, but they don't make us fight wars. Like, and the spell is you're protecting your mother, you're protecting your father, revenge for the building, So, because you need good people make good warriors. Like, cowards don't make good warriors. But eventually you go, I'm not going to fight someone based on the color of their uniform, right? And that's the choice. That's what I keep trying to tell people. It's like, don't fight the war. Don't get dependent. Have a garden. Have your own children. Because then there's no vector to get you.
Right.
I know it's intense, but that's like, if people really look at that, it's crazy freeing.
Huh. I want to ask, after you got canceled, you left Hollywood and now you raise your own animals, grow your own food.
Yep.
And you said that everything clicked once you owned a farm. So let me ask you, what does having a farm teach you about how the world actually works?
Oh my God, dude. That's why Thomas Jefferson, farmer and lawyer. I want my kids to be like, to have legal degrees and be farmers, because that's the whole structure, because it's all farming. It's like, okay, you want the grain? That's what, you can't make a cow do anything. It's about the grain, right? And then you get them in debt and then you milk the future. Like, you get that. That's why money is debt, because anything in the future that you have to pay comes off your kids. The milk goes to their kids that we're taking, right? And we take the sustenance in exchange for the grain. And then,
quick one. In a world where AI is taking everyone's jobs and the value of all assets is going to zero, the only scarce resource left is Bitcoin. And if you're someone who wants to acquire more Bitcoin passively, you need to hear about Gemini's new Bitcoin card. Every time you spend, you earn money back in crypto that's deposited directly into your account. And with no annual fee, you can earn up to 4% back in Bitcoin, with all of your rewards easily trackable on the Gemini app. So if you're someone who wants to earn crypto from your everyday purchases, just go to jackneel.com/credit, or you can scan the QR code on screen and hit the first link in the description. Guys, this one's a no-brainer. Easy way to acquire Bitcoin without changing your routine. Anyway, back to the podcast.
Money is debt, because anything in the future that you have to pay comes off your kids. The milk goes to their kids that we're taking, right? And we take the sustenance in exchange for the grain. And then it's like, it's fascinating how it works. You rotate, you literally gatekeep, right? So I keep the gate of this pasture until the grass is mowed down, and then I move the gates. Oh, now we can make fun of these people. Oh, now this. And you're just rotating the crop to keep enough conflict. I actually have empathy for the controller. That's the funniest thing. The management class I get now, I'm like, they're trying to keep it so things are just like in constant conflict and don't fall apart. And I think it's our job to be noble within that system and not mess with them. Just be good as us, because when people give up autonomy, they're crazy. Like, these spells just keep them in that zone where they just don't go nuts.
You said that we should not mess with them? Is that what you said?
No. It's not that you not mess with them. I understand their pain. they're farmers of man, right? So they're literally farming the labor of man using gates, grain, all this stuff that I use with, it's broadcasting seeds. It's all the same terminology. And that's why when people are like, how many governments would be in on it? I'm like, me and my neighbor are like, have a whole different life than our cows. Like, we're farmers. Like, every government's a farmer. They're all social engineers that keep society, they keep that going. And it's up to us just to be better people. You get the government you deserve. You want to give up your autonomy, they'll keep making more and more bullshit spells and laws. If you want to be noble and moral, you don't need a government. You don't need a farmer. Like, if the cow just kept coming back in, which mine do because I'm moral, like, I can call my cow and it runs like a dog, right? Because I'm good to her. If I'm a McDonald's guy, I need like hell to keep them in place, And that's why I would like a government with more free reign, but it requires us to be more noble people. Because if you give up your autonomy, I want, DoorDash and Uber and pornos and debt money and all this, it's like, okay, well, we're going to control. You don't get a gun. Like, you can't tie your shoes,
So do you see a lot of the problems going on as a result of people's individual actions?
100%. Yeah, they don't have any power. They're wizards, dude. Wizards are like, they're wizards. They're not like us. They don't make shit. They just are like, here's the narrative. And then they pull the resources. It doesn't make them happy, dude. It's like nothing, manual labor. I love when we were clicking on that. Like, Emmanuel means like to be next to God. And when I do manual labor, like, I do completely unnecessary, insane toil maxing. I feel great. I sleep great. I feel like I hurt, but I have like purpose. If you're just sitting in a castle counting beans and being afraid, I don't care how much money you have. Your life like sucks. Like, I love toil maxing. That's why the Jews I get along with are the ones that like carpentry and shit. Like Jesus, right? Because they're doing something. So if you take any group and make them like derivative guys, they're going to go nuts. Like, I have a lot of friends that are nuclear physicists. They get in a world where like, you got to get your, dude, I know shit. It's like, they get so theoretical. I'm like, dude, you got to like, can we like make a bomb? They don't ever, not that I've ever asked that, but they're not like doing anything. You know what I mean? It's like very detached from reality. It's like, oh, so all of NASA's in it. I'm like, they look at his screen and count beeps. It's like that show on HBO. What was that? And it was called like Illumination. And then when he left, he lost that memory and became a different person. And he realized that he didn't know the other person existed. And then he realizes that there's two totally different worlds. And when he's at that job, he's just connecting like squares and hitting triangles like DARPA does to monkeys. Like, they're not doing shit. I think they take the highest IQ guys and they're like, you want to see the gases of Uranus? Like, it's crazy. It's called Uranus. Dude, USA Today said Uranus smells like farts because it was filled with freaking sulfur. I'm like, that's a comedian. Uranus smells like farts. USA Today. I'm like, you guys are dicks. It's true. It's like, what the fuck? Dude, I used to do a physics podcast at Caltech. That's the funniest thing about people being like, oh, how dare you? You're so fucking stupid. I'm like, dude, I interviewed all the guys with the Nobel Prizes. That's why I got disillusioned. Like, it's like a game. Dude, Alfred Nobel killed everyone. You know the story of Alfred Nobel? So he invents like TNT. He's like known as this like warmonger. They think he dies, but he doesn't die. They write an obituary. They're like, man of murder dead. And so he's like, oh shit. So he creates the Nobel Prize so that like people associate him with good shit. And it's always been super corrupt and stupid. Like, Alfred Nobel sucked. I'm not going to say he sucked. TNT, I get it. It's just a product. I'm not saying, but he's not the peace guy. He had vanities. Like, I don't want to be remembered like that.
So I guess on the portion of, you said that it's kind of comes from us, like would be the change to stop it. Like, we allow these things to happen to us. Like, don't you think that like it's possible that someone could influence like 1% of your behavior?
Dude, I'm being influenced right now. Yeah. Like, I didn't win.
So do you think it's possible that someone could influence 5% of your behavior?
Yeah, but
20%
it's all
of your
choice.
behavior?
Like, that 1% I'm giving up, which I do. I know I do. Like, I still hate changing the oil in my car. Like, I don't like doing a lot of shit. I know that part of me is like, I'll just go along with it. And I'm like a stubborn, intense, outlaw of this shit, and I still feel it in myself. Like some people are like, man, you got out. I'm like, no one's ever out. You're always trying to spot in you that's being influenced. And it's always our choice. It's like, yeah, take it. Like something with marriage, you guys will like this for the future. My wife always asks me like what I want for dinner, and I'm pretty flow state and I don't really care. And I used to be like, whatever. She wants me to make a choice. She wants me. And so I do, even though I just think of anything. So this time I said salmon. Because she's like, no, you take agency. And I was like, I don't care. And I'm like, no, I care about her. She wants me to make the call, so I will. That's a microcosm of everything. Fractals are it's all a fractal. It's like, you want to understand the nature of the system, the deep state? Look at the abusive person in your life. Fear, you're nothing, dependency, mind game. It's all like narcissistic abuse.
Why?
Power. Right? Insecurity, fear.
Those are the behaviors that lead to someone being powerful.
Fake power. Yeah, good call. I like your autism. Like the force type, not the real power. You're right. Like the real power, in my opinion, theologically, all comes from the creator. That's why I have the monotheistic theology, because it's a gift to us. But like in the sense of social influence, but that's the irony. They don't really have power because they have to go with their bullshit. Like, they can't make a hard turn. You saw that with Trump. Like, one day he's like, Israel's being fucking annoying, and everyone turned on him immediately because they don't love him. They want their agenda. It's like, if you go with our thing, we will praise you, And so that's why we have a ton of power in the sense that we have free will, but it's all a gift. Like, we don't really, but the more honest we are, the more it's given to us, in my opinion.
Have you ever considered that maybe we don't have free will? Because of the fact that our behaviors are influenced?
Yeah, it's a paradox, but typically a paradox is just because I don't see a wide enough scope. Because like I still like, so theologically, if someone's like, the creator knows all, perfect, then how do we have free will? Because it's all laid out like a program. But we also have free will, and I don't know how that fits together. I know it sounds like a paradox, but I don't know.
My answer to this is it feels right. It feels like we have free will.
Right.
Yeah. It's like you can tell, like, maybe I didn't have free will about this thing I didn't know about.
The determinist guys never act like they believe it. Like, you never see Sam Harris be like, but the Islamists can't help it. None of us have free will. He's like mad at him, right? Like, because that happens with the guy that says everything is one. Some of my friends are like, we're all one. I'm like, so where's our car? Oh, it's your car, right? It's like, we're not really one. Like, or else I have your car too. It's like our car. Maybe we're all one, but like, it's like during COVID, I'm like, you're not acting scared. You had the mask off until you fucking stood up and then you put it on. I'm like, if you thought you could die from a virus, you wouldn't be at TGI Fridays, right? You'd be at home scared. And those are the people I think got through fine, even the vaxxed ones. I think if they believed it, they didn't take on too much debt from that. I think unless you're aware and you're consciously doing it, I don't think it affects you really very much.
Like, you're consciously going with the social normal?
Yeah, if you're like, dude, this is super scary and this vax is going to really help my grandma, I don't think it affected the people I think it affected the most were the ones that like knew. I think there's an innocence that happens if you don't know.
I agree.
I can't explain that or put it on a spreadsheet, but like, I keep seeing that. I've seen that in my own life. Because, I was repped by basically the inner circle of hell, very successful in Hollywood. That's like what you make a wand out of. But like, I know I didn't get in that group. Like, I never, like, how did that? I was going to write a movie called Gary Rothschild, who just like accidentally like keeps joining groups and shit. Because I never wanted that. And that's why I think I couldn't keep going there. And I don't think there was too much karmic debt,
What groups have you accidentally joined?
Well, nothing. No, it's nothing. I just kept thinking, like, if it's all just like stupid symbols, like, what if you accidentally did? Like, you're like, man, my eye is itchy, and someone like, my name's Owen Benjamin Smith because there's an Owen Smith comedian, and people were like, you can't be Owen Smith. We think you're that guy, and it was when I was first starting, and I wanted to keep my name, but they're like, just pick a different name. I'm like, it's my name, so I went with my middle name, and then people were like, oh, Benjuman, and I'm like, oh, I accidentally now have a name of one of the 12 tribes of Israel. I didn't fucking choose that, but it's like, you know what I mean? And I am an 8th J. I don't even know what that means, but I think it's almost like wave and particle shit with light. I think the race religion thing is just a shell game.
A shell game?
Yeah, where it's like light's a particle when we need it to be, or a wave when we need it to be. Like, is being Jewish a race? How can a religion be a race? But yet a lot of them look the same, right? And I think part of it is the legal. I know I'm just kind of rambling, but the legal loopholes of like, you can't like do something legally to a race versus a religion, but you can't religiously be a race. Like, how could I be part Mormon or like part Quaker or like part Presbyterian? Oh, I'm a quarter Presbyterian. I'm half Muslim, an 8th Jewish, and an 8th Quaker. Like, that sounds retarded.
It's kind of like, what is a religion?
Right. What do you think, man? Like,
what is in my notes? That kind of sounds like I'm high when I said that.
No, but dude, the fundamentals right now are the gravy is because we keep operating like everyone knows what these words mean.
I have here, I said, and I'm religious, by the way. I said religion is the belief in a thing that will make you happy.
But I think it's true though, man. I've lived some shit where, and I'm a skeptic, I don't believe in pandas, you know? And I'm like, dude, this is like, there's shit in the Bible it was just more accurate than I was getting in other places where I'm like, it just resonates with me.
That's fair.
Like, I can't like prove it, but I think it's a category error where I don't think you're supposed to prove a religion. Like, faith isn't a proof.
Yes.
I think that's the big thing. It's like, well, I'm like, you can't prove metaphysical truth. It's like proving the number 5. Like, show me 5. Right?
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think
What's your religion? Like, how do you view your own religion?
I tell people spiritual Christian because it's like, I am Christian, but I know about all the stuff you're talking about.
Right,
and I know that it's real.
The same thing.
So it's like, do you say you're a Christian? Because that doesn't really encapsulate if you have this other gnosis, perhaps.
And I'm naturally so devil's advocate, fool archetype that I'm like, you don't want me around. Like, I always ask weird questions, you know? I'm like, but I do feel that though. Like, I identify with, I once joked, I was like, no, I think it's too real to be a Christian. Because so many of these guys,
That's so true.
They say they're Christian, but every action they do is not. Like, even the doom shit now where they're like, oh, they're going to enslave us all. I'm like, it's called the good news, right? The gospel is the good news. Like, so is it the bad news? Like, how do you lose? Like, don't you win if you like accept the truth? Like, but they're acting like that. Don't get me wrong. I think horror abounds if you don't, but like, you just got to have actual faith and things just keep working out.
I think the behaviors of a person often reflect what religion they actually are.
Yes. That's why some Muslims are like, my brother, you are Islamic. You know about debt. And because I like goat herding.
Yeah.
And it's so funny how that is because there's a type of Christian that gets along with Muslim because you're actually looking at the Bible. You're like, oh yeah, you're supposed to not like expose your chick like in public with pornos, you know? And they're like, oh no, that's Islamic. I'm like, what if there's just truth and then there's corruptions? Like, if you look at early America, it looks like they're wearing hijabs. They're like, women are covered.
Really?
Oh yeah, you look at like 1910 coming off Ellis Island, all the Catholics, the women wear like scarves, not like the Pac-Man ghost crazy shit, but just like, you know what I mean? But just basic, you know, if you taught in a school, you had to cover down to your ankles and you couldn't do this and blah, blah, blah. There was like modesty laws.
Yeah.
And it's not because they like are like prudes or whatever. It's because they know the weakness of it. They know that that's a way to weaken people, you know, to like get them jacked up on too much stimulation and then population goes down. Everyone's got a Subaru.
Who do you think is the single most powerful wizard alive today?
I don't think you know his name. Dude, I want to write a movie about it. It's called Synep. Because sometimes I feel like I know almost too much about it where I'm like, am I kind of like, why do I know this? Like, that's kind of weird. And because like the craft of comedy can be awesome at relieving stress, but it can also be super dark, right? And so I'm like, why is my craft so dark? Like, I know how to do these cynical things. And I want to write this movie where I get like kicked out of Hollywood, all that stuff. And I'm in a farm and I'm desolate. And I start getting these things in the mail that just says like Synep, S-I-N-E-P. And it just says, keep pulling the thread and all this stuff. Like this benefactor. And it turns out it's basically the devil. And he was like, I don't know if you call it the devil, but he was from early 20th century. He's like centuries old. And he was trying to do stand-up and Hitler was taking his jokes. It's like this whole story. And so cynically, to show how everyone sucked, he started doing all these spells. And Synap is the biggest corporation in the world and just penis backwards. Because everything's like a penis. Like the rockets. Blue Origin's literally a dick. The CEO is Dave Limp. Literally Dave Limp is the CEO. Fact. I will not apologize for making that connection. And so he's like, I'm like, how are you 180 years old? He's like, I don't eat the funny food. I'm like, what's the funny food? He's like, all the food I feed you. It's like poison. Isn't that hilarious? And so my conflict, I'm like, it's so funny, but it's so evil. And my conflict is like to reject evil because the joke is on man versus the joke is on evil. I try to keep all my jokes like mocking weakness, evil, all that. There's an evil comedy that mocks man. Like, look how stupid, because the devil's always like, you think they're better than me? God, I was your special boy, right? It's like, because God gave us dominion and he was, that envy, the envious one is what the Muslims call shaitan, right? And so he's always like mocking man. Like, look what I got him to believe. Like they were getting people to swab their asses for COVID in China. It's called humiliation comedy. It's punked. It's like, look at what we just did to Justin Bieber. Like I used to punk celebrities. Like, look, we made him cry. Right. But see, I was doing it to break their ego. Like the celebrity, look, we can break you, But I think they're like when the devil does it to like kids and shit. And that's when it's like real fucked up. And there's a comedy to it that's dark. And so I want to write this movie about my rejection of the father of lies, which is like the richest. Because think about it. I'll offer you the world. You can be the greatest comedian ever. Fuck these people. Because right when I was getting canceled, some people I could tell were like, you hate them, don't you? You want to like fuck it, Like they want to stoke my revenge embers. And I was like, I spotted that. And I'm like, that's when I'm like, oh, no hard feelings, man. Like it's all good. Because forgiveness is powerful. Briefly, I was like, oh, that's weak. And it's not. It's like the most powerful thing you can do is having no hard feelings. Oh, it's so powerful. Because like forgiving is when they let you go. It's weird. The devil wants you to be like, look at what Joe Rogan said about you in his tiny little car. Don't you want to mock him and like make him so, And it's like, no, you can have his little pants and his little car. It's all good. Like, because I live in paradise. If you came to my place, it's like a painting. I have like 4 beautiful children running around, like literally like alpacas frolicking. Imagine if I was resentful. That's like it's like such bullshit. It's like so bad to God. It's like, no, I need more. I have like more than I ever could have imagined. It's like, but I need someone to apologize for me for being mean online. I need to be back on D Live. I think it's out of business now,
Who do you think invented cancel culture?
Well, the shame tact. I think every inversion has a good element. I like good cancel culture. Like I have my own app because I had to make one, it's like super, tight on rules, but it's like good. It's always the good, the true, the beautiful. Like nothing a 5-year-old can't see. Like I canceled it, everybody, but it's like I explain it. Nothing sexual, no politics, no conspiracy debating. I'm like, post beautiful things, help, try and find jobs, get wives, like start families, because that's what I think social media should be. And so the inversion is cancel. Dude, a high-level grabbler once told me, they go, our policy is no living heroes. Because living heroes used to almost cancel their wars. Lindbergh was against World War II, and he almost stopped World War II. That's why every hero now has to either be constantly shamed and humiliated or fake. That's a policy. And I get it. I understand it. Imagine if you have a living hero that isn't. That's like Charlie Kirk was like starting to be a little more of a real hero. And they're like,
Why him?
I don't know. I think he was so far in was the problem. It's like, you shouldn't take their money on that scale, Because then they feel like they own you. It's like a girl at a bar taking drinks from a creep. Like over time, he's like, but I gave you the drinks. That's why I don't take shit from any of it. I'm like, it sounds like I'm paranoid, but I'm not. I'm like, I don't want anything. I have my own well. I grow food. I'm like, I don't want to owe the devil anything.
Right.
But it's all good news. Like, I'm not saying this like people should be bummed. It's actually like really cool to see that we have like so much agency, and it's like fair kind of,
if we had a mutual goal, I guess, because I want more people to think in a different way, personally.
Like what do you mean by different? I'll get it.
Like in a way that they're more open to stuff. It's like I can't even like get my parents to like get on board with one conspiracy or one things aren't the way you think they are, because there's not like a good one to get your foot in the door.
Well, I think this isn't about dialectic or truth or proofs. It's about rhetoric. So what I like to do is people a lot of times will reject that because they're afraid of what's on the other side, or they feel shame. Like that means I'm a dupe. I've been tricked. I've lived a lie, all this stuff.
Right.
That's why I like to make it fun, funny, and like not a bit. That's why pandas are perfect.
I agree.
Yeah, because it's like fun, right? Because if you say the moon landing didn't happen, so my grandfather was a liar, so those memories I had, so all the books I read, like, and it's like, no, your grandfather's not a liar. And learning all that shit is really interesting. And maybe it happened. I just don't think so. Neither does Vivian Kubrick. You know, I had Vivian Kubrick on, and I was like, you think your dad shot it? And she goes, no, it would have looked real. Because production guys like me, like, I don't know shit about rockets. I know about production. And I'm like, you're not doing a live feed in negative 273 degrees in a vacuum, 240,000 miles away with a tilt-up rack focus with something going 3,000 feet per second. I'm like, that logistically is impossible in production. So if they said, yeah, all the footage is fake, but we were there, I literally probably would have been like, oh, cool. But they're like, oh, no, they're playing golf.
Every single part of it is real.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, dude, the production, I'm like, so if that production is real, like, I don't trust you now. Because you know what it's like tilt up, rack focus. So like a rocket's going up, you're tilting up and focusing in. You're doing it from remote control, 240,000 miles away. The first time you try it in a vacuum from Houston through a radiation belt. No. Like the amount of energy you need, like a battery gets shitty when it's 30 degrees, negative 273 degrees. No, like, so give me the battery. Like, can I buy the battery? Because my batteries get real shitty at 0 degrees.
Are there any other animals you think are fake?
It's not that I necessarily think they're fake. Dude, you want to hear the newest one that's crazy? Like, all right. Well, there's a few. One, I just want answers about eels. No one knows how they reproduce. And you'll see videos where they act like they know, they actually don't know. And when you understand how crazy that is, they don't know how eels reproduce.
Can we not just capture one?
They don't reproduce with them. They don't know where eels come from.
So if you had eels on your farm, they wouldn't reproduce?
Nope. Dude, that's weird. I have no claims. It's just they don't know where eels come from. Okay? Penguins, I think, are very mysterious, and I'll tell you why. Fashion is so emblematic of power. So why is a tuxedo a tuxedo? You know, you don't really think about it. You're like, oh, that's a sweet tuxedo. It's like, why the fuck did everyone start dressing like a penguin, right? Like with a tail? Because they didn't used to. Before, they'd be like colorful. You look at the Medici bankers and stuff. Why did the Rothschilds get an island in Antarctica in 1815?
That's a new
Why
one
is it
for
called
me.
an emperor penguin? Why is the reason we can't go there to protect the penguins? Why did John Kerry go to Antarctica on election day in 2016 to check the penguins? What the fuck? Why do penguins hoard shiny little pebbles? And again,
they prostitute each other for the pebbles too.
Yeah, and they're all bisexual.
That's true.
And they all can't do physical labor. And they waddle around like literally the Penguin and Batman. And it's like, listen, I don't know the answer to this one, but there's something I have some theories that are fucking out there. But I think, and I'm not saying penguins are midgets in suits or anything, but like, I think there's a relationship between animals and human cultures that I don't fully understand. Like, I think butterflies are like trans. So a caterpillar working hard, gets in a cocoon, does unspeakable acts, becomes goo, and becomes like a flippity butterfly that gets pinned to a, I don't really think that, but like.
Why did you seem so nervous to say the penguin one?
Because the implications are insane. I think that it's a tell of where some shit is, There's some history behind banking that's so wacky, dude. Because all right, if you're like, this is the love your enemy thing. It's like when you actually view it through other people's eyes, like it would be hard being a central banker. Like imagine you lend money to one of these kings for a war They don't pay you back, so they just kill you. Like, that actually did happen to them. So then you hide the gold, but eventually there could be a revolution. They just take back the gold. So you have to really think, like, where do you put the gold? Where do you put the gold? Like, where's the
Fort
point?
Knox.
Antarctica. Okay, where is the one place that the entire world for the last 60 years has agreed that no one can go to for no fucking reason?
But it's because aliens are there. It's because they're secret military base.
Dude, maybe they already took it out, but there was a revolution in France in like 1848, and somebody was like, okay, Rothschilds, we have to tablet it up. Where's the gold? And they did give coordinates that it was like Antarctica. Dude, it's called Rothschild Island next to Deception Island. And you can't see it on fucking Google Maps. Like, it's pixelated on Google Maps. And this is the one thing I like about Bitcoin. I don't like the culture around Bitcoin, but the one thing is the contract lineage, like the tracking of the contract is always very valuable of who owes what, right? And so they would always burn that shit. So imagine you want to like hide that. Like, you can't even hide it in Switzerland. Switzerland can still be taken over. There's still political problems. You know, it's so hard to have a fiat currency backed by gold because you're like, where do you put the gold? Like if people get pissed off enough and they start guillotining, they're going to get your gold again. And that's where I do have compassion for bankers, because they did get kind of fucked with by some pretty unscrupulous kings. And so they're like, okay, the penguins, and I don't know why they started dressing and acting like them. But like, it's weird, man. It's called the Emperor Penguin. And you're not allowed to go there. Like, and then they say, oh, you can go there. Yeah, it's a 3 square mile thing. No, you can't just go to Antarctica. There's literally an Antarctic treaty that during wars, everyone's like, yeah, but one of the biggest Nazi battles in the whole thing was in fucking Antarctica. No one talks about it. And you want to know the cover story? Hitler wanted whales for oil. So 5,000 miles away from Germany, Hitler has whole battalions in Antarctica. There is a battle. 1939, two-front war.
What did they fight?
I don't know. It's like, it definitely happened. They were there. There was Nazi shit all over the place. They had a base. And the lie is preposterous. I feel like it's like Patrick Bateman lies. Like, the lies are so stupid, like the videotapes. It's like, Adolf Hitler is a vegetarian and whales suck at giving you oil. Like, would they go 5,000 miles to get oil from fucking whales? No. All right. Last thing about Antarctica. So everybody in war wants the high ground, right? Everything's about the high ground. You ever look into the average elevation of each continent?
No.
Australia's the lowest, average elevation like 700. You know, then you got like Europe, you know, maybe 1,200. You got like 2,000, Asia, 2,300. Antarctica's 9,000 feet average. Like, fact, this is a fact. It has an average elevation of 9,000 feet. And people go, what does that mean? It's like, I don't know. Like, all of battle is about getting the high ground. Like, why is the Antarctic Treaty in place? Why were the Nazis there? Why do all the elites dress like fucking penguins? Like, once you see that, it's like, because we all just think it makes total sense. Oh yeah, we have like white bellies and a little black tail. Oh, sorry, and a little black tail, and we waddle around and we get little diamonds, and you know, we fight wars for the diamond. It's like, but why not wear like colorful shit? Like, why not wear a different suit? Like, why do you dress like penguins right around fucking 1812? Because there weren't tuxedos before that.
Man, I'm usually pretty good at these things. Like, but I
don't know.
I can't make the jump. I can't make the jump.
I can't make the jump either. And people then get pissed at me. They're like, but then what is it? I'm like, it's just fun to ponder. What are the things that they're facing? Central bankers, like, they have to have the gold somewhere to print the dollars. And people can be dicks to bankers. They just take it back. They're like, fuck you, I have an army. You know, so if you hide it, like leprechauns, no offense, it's like, it has to be someplace really far away, and it has to be a place where no one will ever go.
Do you think space is fake?
See, fake is good rhetoric, but it gets people spiraling because it's like, space. Of course, like,
right.
Yeah,
outer space.
Like outer space as described, I think, of no.
What is it?
I don't know. And I know air gets thinner up there. I just, the way it's described. Okay, for example.
Do you just look at everything that's like forced down your throat and you're like, I know this isn't right, but I don't know what it is?
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't accept that especially with internal critique, internal contradiction.
Right.
And with like, I know you don't know. Like, for example, the internal structure of the earth, right? The deepest anyone's ever dug is 7 miles, which is very deep. But this is where the joke comes in, why I wanted to write that movie. Want to know what they say the core of the earth is? A spinning nickel. They say it's nickel and it's twisting. Dude, that's a joke. It's a spinning nickel. It's a banker joke. It's a nickel spinning. Because I'm like, how do you know that? They're like, oh, we did tests. I'm like, you never dug, I kind of, as much as it was ridiculous and that guy was saying that about Gaza, the you've never been is kind of valid sometimes. It's like, you've never been. Remember that British guy with Dave Smith? When Dave Smith was like, dude, Gaza is all fucked up. He's like, but have you been there? It was on Joe Rogan. And I know he was being manipulative, but I'm like, but still though, like, have you been in the crust of the earth?
Right.
You're just assuming. And the assumptions they made going down were all false.
What do you think is the biggest lie we're being told recently?
I actually am not as afraid of AI and shit like that. I think like that would affect my friends and family, or like that the big lie to like everybody. Because like the people I care about, the biggest lie, or in respect, would be the.
I think I should ask you this: have you heard of the phrase like Hegelian dialectic before? Like what I see with AI is AI is going to kill us all. AI is going to take your jobs. No AI is going to be great and amazing. So I'm just wondering like what the real truth is, you think?
I just know.
I can't imagine it's going to kill us all.
No. Theologically, it can't. It's like, theologically, how can that? And you look at the people doing it and you see the behavior. Don't get me wrong, AI is a powerful tool. It does exist. It's not like some of these other things that are complete scams. It's pretty impressive. It does replace a lot of high-level corporate money velocity jobs, like true. It's like easy for them to just do that. But it doesn't do it. It's like a tool. Like a tool doesn't have agency. And so when people talk about it's an empty vessel for demons, that is kind of true, but it's like, but for the sloth of man, where it's like, I give up agency to AI, and that would allow more weakness to man, is what I see as the fear. But dude, there's so many things that can go wrong with this infrastructure. It's like they always forget they need people to build all this shit and maintain it. Like, dude, I saw a sign that said, don't plant, oh, you're going to laugh. This is why it's all so funny. It said, don't plant bamboo near the data centers because bamboo grows out of control and it's so hard to get rid of unless you have fucking panda bears. And so like, imagine if bamboo takes out data centers and then the Chinese are like, dude, that's why we invented pandas. Because that's why I think they're there. I think they're to clear fields of bamboo, like goats do for us.
The pandas?
Yeah, because all they do is eat bamboo, and it's not even good for them. It's filled with arsenic, makes them sleepy and stupid. They roll down hills like morons.
Why do you think the data centers are there?
No, data centers will have a sign that says don't plant bamboo near data centers because it could destroy the infrastructure.
But I guess I see all this rhetoric about data centers constantly and like this fear mongering around it.
Dude, I don't know, because it sounds terrible and everything, and I don't want one near me. But it's just like, I know the behavior. They're always doing a scam. And one thing I think that happened is existential threat rhetorically moves people to oddly invest. It's like Blood Diamond made people want to buy diamonds. They're like, people die for this. Do you love your wife? Like, that was a commercial for fucking diamonds. As soon as you can make diamonds in a lab, no one wants them. They want to know that someone died. That gives value in a really fucked up way.
You said fear leads to people wanting to invest?
Yeah. Imagine if they go, this is the God that will change all of economy. They're like, well, then I need to be a part of that's now a thing I'm going to think about all the time. I've never seen a robot do anything. Ever. Dude, and I'm like 46. I've been hearing this shit for fucking ever. I had the Jetsons as a kid. These grabblers always want to replace man with machine. It's always the thing. And I saw that in the Bitcoin culture too, where it's like, oh, Bitcoin will cure all our problems. I'm like, no, it's a tool. It can't do it's like just a tool. Same with AI. And
that's so interesting what you're saying. I'm thinking about like if I wanted to get you to invest in my Ozempic company, and you're just a smart investor, I wouldn't tell you that like it actually works. Like the clinical trial, people are losing weight. I would tell you it is the most addictive substance on earth.
Exactly.
And then you'd be like, okay, that's a buy.
Dude, opium is what fueled all. It's like, no, this shit will make people kill their family for it. Dude, I think, again, total speculation. It's Julian Dory's guys, they go, pure spec. You ever see that guy?
Yeah.
He goes, pure spec. It's like, I cannot prove this at all. the news stories about people killing each other for Nikes, I think was a Nike commercial.
Mm.
And if people don't think they can do twisted shit like that, Just Do It that came from a serial killer at his execution. You know that, right?
Yeah.
A guy was about to be electrocuted. He goes, just do it. Nike's like, perfect. And all these slogans, obey your thirst. Once you pop, you can't stop. The best a man can get. Maybe it's Maybelline. All these things, it sounds like a demon saying it. Obey your thirst. Once you pop, you can't stop. It's addictive.
You're someone who hangs around with scientists.
Yeah, I love scientists too. That's the funniest thing. I love the scientific method because a lot of them don't like what's happened too. So I don't want to be too hard on the scientists.
You watched the whole Tucker episode, right?
I'm like 20 minutes from the end.
20 minutes from the end. There's a part in it where he says, I talked to this guy with like top level security clearance, and he told me that there was one truth that could end the entire world.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about what that could be.
Me too.
What
do you think it is?
Do you think nukes are real?
No. I think nuclear power is. I think there's devastating weapons. Because some people are like, oh, you're such an optimist bimbo. You don't think things are... I'm like, dude, mustard gas, directed energy, like there's huge bombs. But the evidence isn't there. It's like, my dad was giving a speech in Hiroshima when I was a kid, and I was terrified he was going to die because I was hiding under a cardboard fucking desk because of nuclear bombs. And people just were like, oh no, it'll be fine. I'm like, no, but Hiroshima has been nuked. It's like 1 billion years is poison. And they're like, no, your dad will be fine. I'm like, noted. And then I started seeing more and more, and I know these guys, and one of my buddies just goes, it's best to act like they're real. Like, he's so autistic that he's like, game theory, it lowers war because everyone thinks that there's mutual destruction. It's game theory. I'm like, Jesus, dude. Yeah, and if
everyone believed they were fake, it would hurt the game theory odds.
How do you invade Iran? How do you invade Iraq? Like, you have to have existential everyone dies from a button, which is classic narcissistic personality disorder. Like, I will kill everyone if you don't do what I say. I think some of these people would have hit the button. They're like bloodthirsty people. You don't make weapons you don't use. And people go, well, my uncle for 30 years, I'm like, he guarded a button. Watch the show Lost. Like when I was a kid, I was in those programs, that now Candace Owens is revealing as CIA. And it's like, I used to work with this DARPA scientist to see if I could feel consciousness in a box because of my IQ score and shit. And it's like, I know those DARPA guys. I know how this shit works. It's like, if you guard a button that's a red button, and they're like, if you press it, everyone dies. Like, emotionally, you now are invested. But did you ever see a fucking nuke? No. Nagasaki and Hiroshima, Japan surrendered because 1.5 million Russians invaded Manchuria 48 hours later. Nagasaki and Hiroshima, a bunch of people died, but way more people died in 8 other Japanese cities because of firebombing, because everything's wooden. People on the ground said it was firebombing. There was only one journalist allowed to report on it. It was a Lithuanian Jew working for the State Department. That's where all of it came from. And it's like, why would they lie? Why wouldn't you lie? I can even understand why. You're in a war. You want to end the war. This big, as a parent, if you say there's a monster in the pond, oh, it's better for my kids. They won't drown. But then it has blowback. Every lie has blowback. Because that lie does work for a while. If everyone has a nuke, no one will fight because we'd all die. It's like prisoner's dilemma type shit. But then it becomes like a protection racket. If you have a nuke, you're in a club. If you don't, we can invade. It's all financial system shit. And some people understand if this sounds like nonsense, but do
you think Trump thinks we have nukes?
I do.
That's what's interesting about a lie.
I think he found out they didn't after I bet he was like, fucking press it. And I don't even think the generals might not even know. This is the craziest thing is some high-level people don't get to know the truth because their motivations are all fucked up and they're empty vessels.
And if lies are so old, then people die and the lies just stick.
Yeah. And it's like the carrots and sticks don't motivate them to figure out their basis. Like we just asked, what is religion? Right? So it's like, you can have full structures, like Fort Knox, no gold in it, but everyone's just acting like there is. And there is magic in that. You act like things, and then things start happening because of human behavior. It's very strange. Like what you and Tucker were talking about, like fiat. Like if you believe it has value, you treat it like it has value, and then the economy grows, but it's a picture of a guy with wooden teeth. It's like, what is $1? But if you act like it, you do see the economy grow. But then as soon as people start questioning it, and then people could say, so what you're doing is damaging, and people question these things, they're fundamental. I'm like, no. It's starting to outweigh. Like every one of these scams ends in catastrophe because the lies, you have to pay the debt back. You can't, it's like biological usury with like drugs. Like if you do a lot of blow, you're going to have to sleep. Like you have to pay it back with interest. Lies eventually have to get paid back. You can't keep going with them, especially if you're pulling something from them. You know, I see the nuke, and I'm like trying to say this to like chill people out. I'm not trying to be a dick because people are so afraid. They're like, we're all going to get nuked. I'm like, no, what I think they would do is a mushroom cloud and then use 5G to mimic the, you know, I'm like, but just don't be afraid. Like the key, you know, the Bible.
Why would they kill you? You work.
Exactly that. But it's about control. 30 miles. Oh no, there's a cloud of radiation. And you could mimic the effects because radiation needs energy. You can mimic the effects. You could radiate a population using a lot of electricity and like microwaves and shit. But not that bad, but it can scare people to be like, oh, I can't go to that zone.
From the recent files, it's clear Jeffrey Epstein was obsessed with theoretical physics and mathematics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was the ultimate wizard, dude. Him and Bannon are both total wizards.
Why do you think Epstein was so obsessed with mathematics?
The wizard shit. It's just a good, well, one, they all want to live forever, which they can't. So they're always trying to do that. So that's their whole thing. They're like, because once you get all the hedonic treadmill, that's why I have a lot of respect for Bilzerian, because he's like, there's nothing there. And when your identity is the guy that like banged his way into like a $500 million, like letting go of that is so cool that he did that. Where he's like, it's like heroin. Nothing happens. You just keep banging and then nothing. I think what happens to a lot of these guys is they're like, okay, I want to live forever. Like I'm not satisfied by anything. My dick doesn't even work anymore, you know? And you can't, but I don't even, because they don't even have faith. It's like, I think your temporal body dies, you know? It's like, I think that might be the most beautiful thing, to live a good life and die well. And they're like resisting it, you know? And I think that's why Epstein was so obsessed with science. He thinks that they can crack the code, but it's like absurd. It's like saying I'm going to get rid of winter. It's like,
you don't think he was just blackmailing all the scientists?
I don't think coercion only works once. I think he was I think it's far darker to admit that he was feeding them these horrible things and they wanted to be there. Because imagine if I'm like, Jack, put me on Thursday or else I'm going to reveal we're never buddies again. Like you have one time and that'll work for about a few months and then you're going to try and kill me. So to get a long-term coercion, you want to feed them shit. You want to give them stem cells and access to the horrors. You know, it's like feed them appetite shit that they can't get other places.
This is actually one problem I had with one of Tucker's pieces of rhetoric, was the whole idea around demons kind of influencing people's behaviors. I would say the counter argument, I'm not saying I think this is the case, just what I thought about was maybe like we're just too afraid to look at that people can be pretty fucked up sometimes.
Dude, I have a friend that I respect a lot that says that the key is to not say like a demon, it's influence. So it's like, as long as you still take authority, I think you can have the conversation of influence, of like an entity influencing you. The minute you say like, oh, I was simply possessed, that's again, victim consciousness. That's the behavior of the very people that people are calling the evil people. Oh, we had to bomb Lebanon. If not, we'd be turned into soap or whatever. You know, it's like everyone does that. People are doing that with Jews now. They're like, we have to do this or else they're going to. I'm like, dude, it's all in here, man. It's in here. Like the demon can't make you do anything. It's like a suggestion. It's an offer. Because the minute you say it's demons doing it, you've now given up your free will and then everything flips. It doesn't work anymore. I'm with you with that.
What do you think OCD is?
Great question. I listened to this guy, Lord Buckley. He's like an old school comedy writer that was in that scene, was like a junkie, recovered. And he does these long bios on comedians. And I didn't know how like dark a lot of their lives were. Like the classics, you know, like dark lives, man. And like Chris Farley had OCD and he once said, it's me evening the score. And I've been thinking about that a lot. You think it's a way to feel like you have control in a world where you don't feel like you have control? Where like, if I tap this light switch 9 times, like I'm in control. That's all I got for that. What do you think it is?
I think the idea of spirits with your best intentions and spirits with your worst intentions giving you thoughts makes sense a little bit. I really think it's some type of tapping into something spiritual. I can't tell what it is. Yeah. It feels like
I think it's ritual. It's almost like a religious act. Because I look at Christian ritual versus nonsense, like Christian rituals that have purpose. Like I used to think the bread and wine was dark, and I now think it's great. It's getting people off cannibalism. Like the bread is I now think it's awesome. And so when a ritual has purpose, it's great. And I know a lot of religious cults that they don't even know why they're doing it. Like, dude, some of the Jays are so funny. They'll spin a towel and jump backwards. And you're like, why did you do that? They're like, we don't know. And I think that's kind of OCD. It's ritual. It's a religious ritual without a purpose. And I don't know what that does. I think everyone has occasionally I'll find myself being like, why did I do that? Like, that didn't make any sense.
I think it's taking meaningless action on anxiety typically, but like I wouldn't consider anxiety to be like DSM-5 type anxiety. Like I use it as a word to describe just, I guess what is anxiety is probably like just uncertainty, really.
Dude, manual labor, bro. That's like OCD in the right side up. Because you get anxiety because you're not doing anything that you can look at and be like, sweet. So you're like, but if you're just doing that shit, you don't need to do that because you're physically getting your anxiety out by positively affecting the world around you. Like being a parent, it's building self-esteem is all about little wins all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, like you want that chore, like this thing, like just building it slowly. And it's like that with accomplishment. Like think about how many jobs you don't get to see the end results. Why I'm this stair freak. Like I love the stairs. Like you can be a billionaire and you never see it end. You just are in this stream of bullshit.
It's literally nothing.
Nothing's there.
Yeah. I haven't given much thought to that, but like.
So I like castles and airships, bro. Imagine a castle. You're like, ta-da, right? Versus like, it's just a stream is, when you look at a moving river, that's why I love doing the live stream by the live stream. It's never the same. It's never one thing. It's always something different all the time. And I think consciousness is kind of like that. Like it's the river as a thing is always something new. Like the water is never the same like a lake. You can't be like, the water of the river, it just changed. There's no present to a river.
This is a good one for you. What do you think IQ is?
I do actually think it's culturally subjective a little bit. And I know
do you really think it's a genetics thing, or do you think it's possible that it's some behavior anxiety, some uncertainty?
I don't know. Because I used to take identity pride in it, and now I don't. Because it's like, I see the weaknesses of it, and it's not even that great. It just means you can have processing speed to do nonsense. I think if you have good morality, it doesn't even matter. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah. It might be like management, like ability, where you can conceive of multiple things happening at the same time. Like I can play piano and do comedy and rip, but who cares? It's like, if you have like a clean line of like fundamentals, you're so much more effective. Like some high IQ guys are just churning bullshit all the time. And I like feel for them. They're like in constant misery. Like imagine working at NASA and just never going to the moon. Like your whole life, you're like, dude, they said tomorrow, forever. Dude, every president is like, by 1988, a baby will be born. You look at even Musk. It's like, he's like, by 2012, we'll be like, having babies on the moon. And it's like, imagine being the guy, like as a skeptic, it doesn't affect me. Imagine being like, here we go, baby. And it just never comes.
You could have just built some stairs.
Right. And then they have investment bias where they're like, well, I'm this far in, I can't pull out now. That's a big spell. And I tell that to people, even that have done horrible things in their life. One devil whispers like, you're far too in. They will never love you. Like you cannot be forgiven. And that's a lie. You just have to admit it, though. You can't pretend it's good.
You just have to admit it, though. You can't pretend it's good.
Yeah, you can't be like, my identity, it's like, I'm a drunk, dude. Yeah, so what? I kill some dudes. You know what I mean? You can't be like, it's good. I think you can like be forgiven internally and just in life if you're just like, yeah, that was wrong. That's why I've respected Tucker, man. It's such a, he genuinely does inspire me because they never admit they're wrong. And he was like, yeah, I was wrong about the Iraq War. Like, that's so fucking rare.
Right.
Because they have so much ego. And it's just like, just admit it. We all know it's bullshit.
Yeah, that's how you break your own spells that you put on yourself.
None of us are always right. Like, this idea of perfectionism is like insane. It's like we're all on a journey. If we always are right, then we're not exploring, we're not making mistakes, we're not trying new shit. And what does right even mean, you know?
Right.
Right.
Did you say that Nick Fuentes was a woman?
I'd give it 15%. He's got that voice. And he's like, dude, this is going to sound a little slant. I don't even want to get into it, but it's just like, because I may be completely wrong, but he admitted he's IVF, made in a lab. And he just acts like he doesn't have, this is going to sound
He's a
great.
twin.
I know.
You can IVF twins?
They always do that, and it's a girl twin. And he suspiciously is like very small, and he has a voice that sounds hormonal, and he acts like he doesn't have a penis. I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick, but he has that vibe of like, oh, I don't like you. You know, because I think he's funny in a way, but he's like mean girly. But dudes can act like that too. You know, he's probably not a woman, but you know, like Milo implied that there was a surgery gone wrong, but he can really just say wild shit. Like, I never start shit. When people talk shit about me, I'm like, you finally greenlit me. I have all these jokes, you know? And so, you know, and I don't even care, but he has like just said flat out absurdities. And I'm like, okay, I'll dance. I like improv. I'll make fun of you. A white nationalist named Fuentes. This is my fucking birthday. Might as well be named Burrito. Like, this is hilarious. You know? And he's like little. He's like this little dude. He's like 5'3". The only thing I actually might have bigotry for, I might be a white supremacist, and I do work on that. It's just, they're all short. Like, all of the monsters, it's not even like a race or a thing. They're all fucking short.
You think so?
Dude, you go through the whole list. Dude, even the serial killers. Ted Bundy was tall, so was that other guy, but it's the control freak guys.
You think serial killers are real?
Good point, man. Right? But if you're that MK'd and you go along with it, it's still fucked up. Dude,
Right.
have you ever looked into Kelsey Grammer's family history?
Don't know. Yeah.
The guy from Cheers who had his own sitcom. He's the highest paid sitcom star. It was called, you know what that show was? It was called like, it was huge. He was like a bald guy who's a psychiatrist, all that shit. It's hilarious you don't know that. That was like the biggest show ever. And dude, 2 of his family members are murdered. It's insanely suspicious. And I always wonder, like, how do you become like that guy where you can get away with anything, accused of rape, you're always flipping cars on crack, but yet you're the highest paid guy and your dad and your sister's killed by a serial killer. And it's like, the case is retarded too. And it's like, I think the Black Lives Matter shit's nuts. I also think that they sometimes do pin it on like just random black dudes. I think this random black guy's like, just got pinned as a fucking serial killer, and he's definitely not a serial killer. And the case is nuts. It was like, he was real like jumpy with the cops. And I think what they do is they have these brands like serial killers, and they'll like lump in kills with them as a branding thing.
Right.
Right?
One I noticed that I thought you would think was interesting was like, it seems like anyone would be afraid of joining a community that has like its own like religion and rules where they like are self-sufficient because it just sounds like a cult.
Yeah.
And like, you just think that there's going to be like some like weird sex shit.
Yeah, because people call me a cult leader all the time. And I'm like socially awkward. I like to be alone a ton, and I don't tell people what religion to be. I don't even tell people to vote I'm like so not the guy that's like, you two be married. I like a monogamous. And I'm like, oh, it's because I'm not in your cult. Like, right? Because I think cult's short for culture. Like, I do build culture. You know, I do. But I think a cult implies truth comes from the leader, which I actually is one of my fundamental things that I think is like one of the evils of the world. I'm like, I don't know the truth. Like, idol worship of a cult leader is like hell. I would never want that because then they eventually hate you because you're also responsible for all the bad shit. Idol worship is a fucked up relationship, man. So, but yeah, you're right. Like as soon as people are doing their own thing, oh, you drank the Kool-Aid. That guy was like, you ever look into that guy?
What was his name again?
I can't remember, but that was a total op. He was like this big liberal. He's like pushing every liberal talking point. Hollywood loved him, right? He's like, has this church. He's like promoting like old black people. He's like the most liberal guy. And then they go to fucking Africa. Like apparently he poisons them with Kool-Aid. It wasn't even Kool-Aid. If I was Kool-Aid, it might have been an ad for Kool-Aid. Although I don't know. I don't think that one works. No one's like, I want to drink Kool-Aid after that shit, you know? But it was like a different drink. It wasn't even Kool-Aid.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was sketchy. The CIA went in and I don't know. It just didn't make much sense to me.
You wrote in your book in chapter 7, a man whose entire identity is his appearance is a man who has abandoned his function. What do you think of Looksmaxxing?
I think that's why I do toil maxing. I have like a tiny soft spot for Clavicular because it's just maxing is such a funny theme and I love themes. I don't know if he invented it or not, but I always give credit if someone starts a funny thing like dude, it's so vapid and retarded, but objectively hilarious. He's sitting with this chick and she's like, why aren't you drinking water? He goes, I'm penis maxing. He wanted to make his penis look a little longer and he didn't act like it was funny. And I was like, if he like is deeply doing a joke, that's like the funniest thing ever. But anyway, so as far as spells go, it actually cucks you to women, you know, because you're saying like, I want to be adorned as beautiful. It like actually lowers a man's value, you know? And I'm not saying not to look better and care about your appearance, but it's like, I'll spend money to look beautiful so a woman wants me. It's like, I don't know. To me, that's just so strange.
What's the... I'm not asking like...
No,
what's the issue
like,
with that?
Looksmaxxing should be like nutrition, exercise. I believe in physiognomy. I think your face starts matching your lifestyle. You know, like I'm fine with all that. But if someone's like smashing their nose and taking hormones and like they're sterile and they're like spending all their money, you know, they're like, Chad is so jealous. Nah. I'm like, you know, men should look healthy and be respectable looking, but like it's typically about making them feel safe, having a purpose, working hard. That's, you know.
You don't think women only care about looks?
No, I think they don't like ugly, but they can even roll with ugly. I don't know, man. It's like they care about looks if they're just like banging a guy or something, but women aren't even designed to bang guys. That's like totally insane. Imagine if every time you had sex, you could get pregnant, 9 months, you're like super vulnerable. And then you have to raise a child from the man's like, and I know we have like a system that changed all that, but their genetics are still that.
Right.
Like women aren't designed to be, like men are designed to be more promiscuous, even though I still believe in monogamy, but like the female lifestyle is nuts. That's why they're all on these fucking pills. Cause they're not supposed to be banging Looksmaxxers. Even they are attracted to these guys, but they end up going nuts from that. They're not supposed to do that. And I'm not like shaming them like some of these guys. I feel bad for them. I'm like, dude, you don't have to do that. Like your value is way bigger than just like blowing a guy with good claviculars. Like it's just weird, right? You know what I mean? And I always did well. And I'm like, no, I'm not I can play, you know.
How tall are you?
6'8", but it gets almost weird at that point though. No, and I can play Bach by ear and shit, and I'm funny.
You can play Bach by ear?
Well, I'm like really good at the piano, and that would like oddly, you know, and I can be dominant in a room and all that, but I'm not like a stud at all. I would always outkick. Like my wife's better looking than me. It's like, but I feel like it should be like that. I'm like, I'm not supposed to be beautiful. I'm supposed to be awesome. Right?
I like that a lot, actually.
Right? And dude, I know like, I used to be buddies with like I'll tell you after, but like a major stud actor, like stud. And he would always like, I would almost do, like I was like a busboy and I'm like, bro, you're like on one of the biggest shows in the world. You're like a 11. I'm like, and you're always like weird about, I'm like a fucking busboy who smells like booze and fucking, like, what is this? I think a lot of it's just your vibe. It's just like...
You're saying he wasn't good with girls?
He could be. Like, he'd date, like, attractive women, but he'd be like, man, how do you do it, dude? I'm like, you're, like, retarded. Like, what are you doing?
Looks help for about 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, it's like vibe. It's like being famous on stage. You have 5 minutes where they'll laugh, and then you have to be funny. Like if you're a famous comedian, they're like, oh, fuck, this is great. And then it's like a crowd will turn on the most famous comic if they're not funny.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I see this on YouTube a lot. It's like big YouTubers, if you make a bad video, like it fucking flops, you know?
Yeah, and think about a woman if it's like, I want my children to be legendary, right? Do they want to be like a ninth ab? Or like being in a community and structure that's safe and nurtures them and they have like morality to become like kings and shit.
Right.
So they want you to be I'm not like against working out and trying to improve, but like, how about get really good at a skill? Have guys treat you. I was just talking to Jake Shields about that, where it's like being a world champion, it's how men treat you. They don't know what a fucking armbar is, but when men are like, yo, that's the champion, women are like, that's great. And you can do that with like plumbing and shit. If other guys are like, dude, that guy built his whole house from like fucking wood pallets. Women are like, that's super attractive.
You said physiognomy. What can you tell about someone by looking at their face?
I think that you're like by 40, you start getting a face of your lifestyle. Like I call it allegations face, where like creepy guys, they have a look where their face starts looking pervy. And I also think like I didn't used to be able to grow a beard because I was like more LA, like, Mouse Utopia guy. And then as soon as I started getting a little anti-Semitic, I got a fucking beard. No, but seriously, as soon as I started being like I have children I have to protect. I have like blah, blah, blah. My voice went down a little and my fucking jaw got bigger. Isn't that hilarious?
Do you think money buys happiness?
No, but it's energy. So like, I'm not against money, but it like helps you do the thing that you are. So like you can accomplish more. You have more freedom to do cool things. Like if you have a lot of money, you can, take your children to the coral reef and show them, like it's awesome, but it doesn't make you anything. It doesn't change you fundamentally. It actually amplifies your traits. It's like being drunk, right? It's like the fun guy gets super fun and the dark, depressing guy gets like super dark, right? It like amplifies, like an exclamation point. Maybe not being drunk. Some people switch, but.
Do you think money's real?
I think. Such a good question. It's like, is a soccer point real? It's like,
exactly.
I told my kids once, and it's so true, and my buddy coaches a soccer team too. You could be beaten 20-0. If you score one goal and celebrate, the other team gets demoralized. It's so funny, dude. They're like my kids be like, yeah. And the other team's like, I thought we won. It's like, no, but they're really pumped for what they did. I think that's like what money is. Like, I think my expectations were pretty low. So when I would make big checks, I would be like, whoa. But if I was from like a billionaire family, I'd be like, Papa, I only made 20 mil this year. I'm pathetic. So it is relative, but land isn't relative. You want to talk wealth with land, 100 acres, you can raise this amount of cattle. You can get this amount of stuff. Like that is real. Silver is a valuable asset. Gold, valuable asset. They can do this. But dollars is a point in a game that is rigged. I mean, they just do print it and give it to retards.
Who prints it?
There's a variety of ways. Like the skyrocketing housing prices is a form of printing money. So like when you get a mortgage, that money is created when you sign it. So like, let's say you put down $100,000, $700,000 mortgage, that's printed now. So that just came out of nothing. And so that's one form of inflation. They also can be like, well, we're facing a war. That's why they love war, pestilence, all the four horses of the apocalypse. Because like people get so scared, they're like, yeah, I mean, what are we going to do? We have to print $1 trillion or, and then it just makes all the other dollars worth less,
We also have to build all this technology in the meantime as well.
And what is it really doing, I bought a truck. It's 370,000 miles and it doesn't break ever. The new shit is super interesting. Like, I love tech. Like, we connected. Like, we can look at each other's videos and stuff. But as far as engines and shit, they're not improving engines. They're not improving some of this shit that I'm like, I'm starting to come up with ways to generate energy with, like, water wheels and shit. I'm like, why aren't more people doing this? It's like a control structure.
This might be our last podcast then.
No, I'm not good enough at it where I'm a threat. I'm like just under it. Where they're like, he's not really going to do it. But I have met guys that have done some shit though.
Have you heard about that? What's that one act called? It's like the Patent Privacy Act. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Where if you make something that challenges them, they can just like take it and hide it. Is that what it is?
Yeah, there's like 8,000 patents If it's a threat to national
Yeah,
security.
and I do get it. Imagine if someone's like, okay, oil's completely unnecessary. Like, that would be horrifying,
Right.
right? But that's why you got to like slowly do it privately. I'm all about the private. The private's where it's at. Like, I know a dude who actually created something where like, and I don't know how it worked, and he's like super good at this shit where he made magnets like starting to make electricity, and he was like bringing it to a show, and it did, like, black fucking cars did take it, like, fact. And they were just like, you can't do that. And he's like, all right. They didn't like kill him or anything. They're just like, you can't bring that to market. Like, you can have that, but you can't sell that. That's what I think Prohibition was. I think people were making fuel, not booze. Because, like, I think about that all the time. I'm like, dude, I have an orchard.
Right.
I'm going to make fucking ethanol, you know? And they're like, oh, the Rockefellers don't want you to be drunk. Like, what the fuck?
You mentioned Vivian Kubrick earlier.
Yeah.
There's a theory about her father, Stanley Kubrick, that he was trying to expose the elite sex cults operating in Hollywood with that movie, Eyes Wide Shut. And that he died 6 days after handing his final cut to the studio.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ask his daughter about?
Kind of. I don't think she knows about that stuff. She's a very sweet person, and I was just trying to have a good chat with her. And I have my own theories. I think good art just exposes everything without even intention. Like, I don't even know if that was his goal, but because I see shit in that movie where it's even more exposing about just the nature of reality and dreams and power. Like that the ritual is real life. It's just they have the robes on. You can't see it because the party is matching the ritual, right? Where they're like, like the behavior of the alpha in the party and all the people around him is matching. You know, they have the Whore of Babylon and all the figures. And he's almost just like, it's almost like comedy in a way, but like horror. He's like showing you reality in a way that's like a metaphor, you know? Because the thing that always blows my mind is show it in me. And that's when I'm like, holy fuck. Like, show that I'm doing a ritual or like, you know, that. And I think he did that well. And I think The Shining did that too. And I think, I don't think he was killed. I don't know, man. It was sketchy, but like, they still released the movie. It's like, they didn't hide the movie.
Well, they cut out, what, 24 minutes or something.
I know. They're also just like so retarded though. It's like, could they know what to cut out? They're like empty vessels. But heart attacks are real sketchy. Like that's, I don't know, man. I mean, if you're looking at Nicole Kidman's dad, dude, biggest landowner in all of Australia and like facing tons of horrific allegations. And the name is Kid Man. But again, I don't know. Died mysteriously, all that shit. It's just a strange person to star in that movie.
Right.
I think he's like autistic genius type and just naturally, dude, 2001 Space Odyssey's nuts. The obelisk is right next to like the World Trade Center. It's the exact dimensions of the obelisk. They fall in 2001 and it's the same look as a fucking iPhone. And it like it's like there's so much shit in there. And he might have just been riffing and it's just like really good art can just show the future sometimes, you know? Because it's so detailed. I'm like, how do you do that? Like The Matrix, you know, Neo's birthday is 9/11/2001 on his passport. Like, because I see synchronicities all the time happen.
Do you know who made that movie?
The trans grabber guys?
Yeah, I swear. I looked up who made that movie and it was
the Wachowski brothers that cut the ween off.
Yeah, and then I looked up who made it a year later. I was like, oh, it was two women made it. And I was like, what? Because that was pretty recent, right?
Yeah, their red pill was estrogen, I think.
Huh.
Well, my joke was always don't take any pill from a black guy in a leather trench coat. I like breaking binaries. Because one big wizard spell is like, which pill? I'm like, that assumes pill. That's authoritative speech.
The real pill is there's no pill.
Yeah, dude, they've said the red pill is about transitioning. And I'm like, truther, but there's a lot of truth in it too. It's like the truthers can see it as like getting out of the system. And they're like, no, it's about cutting off the ween. And you're like, dude, or that's humiliation. I don't know.
Why do you think millennials are obsessed with Harry Potter? Yeah, do you think that's demonic?
In a way. Yeah, because I think Dumbledore was like Epstein kind of. Dude, it's a little island where they take kid runaways in a train. It's just like, They teach him magic and they're exposed to a guy that becomes a wolf every fucking full moon. It's just like, it just doesn't feel like a safe environment for kids. You know what I mean? It's like troubled kids go there to learn magic with a childless gay guy in a fucking castle in a magical land, right? And in London, you have to go through a strange doorway. It's just, but I don't think it was intentional. I think Rowling was like being passionate about it and like writing well, but you know, there's no rules in the sport. Like a lot of it frustrates me.
Do you think a lot of people just make art and some of it gets pushed more than others?
That's how I think it completely works. I think it's editorial. I think like even a lot of these Psy Ops, I think, because I'll see a news story start going up, the details aren't matching the agenda and it's gone. I think they're looking at human behavior and they're like, oh, promote, this is what we want. Because when I was selling scripts in Hollywood, they never told us the agenda. They're like, this year we're looking for this theme. And so we're all writing the scripts and the money's so big that we're just thinking about selling the script, you know, getting it syndicated. It's like our carrot is that. And they get 15 scripts, get it down to 5. They shoot 3, they greenlight 1. And it's just the thing they wanted. They don't tell us. They're like, of all the scripts, this one matches it. We have there's a kid in a wheelchair. There's a trans, whatever they want, they do. Like Modern Family. I sold a script that year about like a family that's strange and odd and different. And so I sold a script for $50,000. But then the next layer, like the first layer of executives are like, oh, these are really good scripts. And then the next layer, like, that's a hero. That makes too much sense. That gives you hope.
Right.
No, that like, because Hollywood, so many people are not in on it. They're not all like, the thing that they do though is they look away to keep their bullshit is what most of them do. Like most of them are not like eating kids. They're just like, they will ostracize someone who points out an obvious thing is what most of the evil of Hollywood is. And then there's some dudes that are real fucked up.
This is an important one that I feel like you would have a compelling theory about, but do you think, I mean, it sounds super basic, but I still don't know. And I think I know, but do you think algorithms show you what you want to watch? Or do you think it's more sophisticated than that?
I think it's a combination. I think it wants to feed you so you stay engaged and then steer you.
Right. Isn't that the concept of carrot stick?
Yeah, totally. And like controlled opposition and all that. And people just do it naturally and they don't even realize they're doing it. They're like, I want you to look at me and then I'm going to sell you the thing I want to sell you. Like that's what controlled opposition is. But I see that a lot in history where it's like, you see that in Germany where it's like base Germany and then you got a guy saying all the right shit and then just starts bringing you into like a slaughter. You know what I mean? Like I think all sides of war is fucked up. I think it's like, I always tell my kids, no wars. Like don't ever fight a war. It's an agreement to die in a weird way. You know?
It's an agreement to die in a weird way.
It's strange rhetoric, but it's true. It's like you're giving up so much autonomy. Like, that's what I mean. Like, do they have awareness of what they're doing? They're like, you're the enemy. I have a buddy that's killed people in war. And he's like, it didn't even feel real. He's like, there's the guy, you shoot him. I didn't know him.
Felt like Call of Duty.
Right, exactly. And it's like, and now you're agreeing to also be that guy on the other side. Like, that's not real war. It's not like, that's industrial slaughter. It's like how you slaughter animals, It's like, so that's why I think all war, I'm never on his side of anybody in a war unless it's a defensive existential war of like a homeland or something. But if you're funded big, it's eugenic in my opinion. And I just don't trust. I'm just like, that's why I'm always like, I did a shirt years ago. I think it said Hitler should have homesteaded or something. It's like and I could be wrong, but my whole theory is like, get non-dependent. And that's the whole thing. Like you can't fight that, because people would say, do not rely. I was like, do not comply. I was like, do not rely. Because you have to comply if you rely. Like if you give me all my water, even if you tell me to hop on 1 foot, like unless I have water, I should hop on 1 foot. That's the biblical thing of like slaves be good to your master. If you want to be free, you have to fucking get your own water. Right? And that's why people can see me as this like boogeyman, because they just don't want to admit that. Like I can have wacky theories, I can be whatever, but like obviously I'm not some boogeyman. It's that concept. They're like, fuck Owen Benjamin. Because it's like, No, they're poisoning me. I'm like, dude, you can grow a plant, man. They're like, well, I don't have land like you. I'm like, dude, you can grow it in a windowsill. Just one fucking tomato. I think something spiritual happens when you grow one thing. I'm always like, grow one thing, grow one sprout. I think you literally go to another side where you're like productive. Because you're like, oh my God, one tomato has 100 seeds. 100 seeds has 100 tomatoes. That's exponentially unlimited. Well, it's like this thing that happens.
And this thing makes me healthier as well.
Right.
Like, it has all this like genetic DNA.
It's unlimited and it's free. It's like every tomato, it's such basic shit. Every tomato is filled with seeds that make tomato plants that make unlimited tomatoes. And they just require water, dirt, and care. Like, that's why I've tried to change the rhetoric. I can't afford a house to I can't build a house. I'm like, imagine if you could build a house. It's like, it might be not. People used to buy houses off the Sears catalog and build them. And I don't have those skills, but like, what if we reach for those skills, then we're not in any debt? You build a house. I have buddies that do that all the time. They make $17 an hour. They own their house because they slowly built them with random shit they got at construction sites. And they have like 8 kids and they're crushing, you know?
I know this is the worst question to ask someone who's a former comedian and still is a comedian, of course.
But I still wrestle with that too.
What's the joke that would get this podcast deleted?
At this point, none. Because I think that everything's moved over. Like, I'm not the guy that ever wanted to like be like, we got to kill these guys. I was always the guy being like, look at this inversion. And they're all out now. You know, like to the point where, I don't know. I mean, I also make fun of like vets and cripple. I'm not a hypocrite. Like a lot of my audience are vets and I'm like, okay, that's the sacred cow. And they appreciate it, you know?
What's your favorite joke to tell your kids?
Oh, dude, they just like silly shit. Dude, kids are it's such a good question because like it really challenges me to be more actually funny than just to release stress. Like I get people to laugh because I release stress. Oh, my wife doesn't really hate me. Ha, right? But you need like the trauma and the stress for me to do that. So a kid is so pure, but they're so easy to make laugh if you're just like just having a blast. Like they just like, I do videos at my campground where I just ride around the 4-wheeler and I make funny faces and pretend I'm going super fast. And they think it's like the funniest shit ever. And it is. I mean, say what you will about Bill Cosby. His like, and I always didn't like that guy, but his sound effects, kids always thought was funny. He's like, the butted pops. And then he did some and stuff, but like, he did know that aspect. But he always told everybody, everyone knew. He did a joke where he's like, Spanish fly, you put it in the drink. It's great. Like, he was never hiding it. He tried to buy NBC, and they're like, you're out of here. They hate competition. Same with Harvey Weinstein. Of course, he's a pervert psycho. They all are. My folder said he once ate a pot brownie. These guys all have all this shit where they're like, okay, unleash. Because they don't let you buy the means of production. Like, Weinstein wanted Weinstein Company to take more over of Warner Brothers, and it's like mafia shit. They're like, oh, no. Let's get all the whores you've been fucking, and now they're going to tell the tale, and you're going to prison, little boy. Same with Cosby. Cosby was like trying to own NBC. Same with, and again, I don't know. I know Kobe Bryant was like in a lawsuit with this major pharmaceutical thing about a major brand. It's like, and dude, again, Puff Daddy, total scumbag, wanted to own the brand. The thing is like, they don't want you to own it unless you build it. And I understand that. It's like one thing that kept me through some hard times is I only control what I build. I'm like, I didn't build YouTube. And that's what lowered my resentment. I'm like, it's your thing. I didn't build it. I don't have any right to that. And even like the twisted world, they can be like, you didn't build Ciroc. Do you know how many wars we had to do for this?
Right.
You didn't build Warner Brothers. We have fucking a desert filled with bodies, dude. You get out of here. You know? It gave me comfort.
I guess, is there any pattern you've noticed that you haven't heard other people talk about?
I've actually been inspired lately, which feels great. Like I was just telling Jake about that, like listen to you and Tucker, like all kinds of people, which I didn't have for a little while because I was so far ahead in people I thought were being such cowardly retards. People are saying shit that I haven't even thought of now. Like people say stuff and I'm like, whoa, that's great, man. Like I'm not the tip of the spear like I once was, except for personal accountability. And I've done it. Makes me kind of interesting. Where I did buy my own piece of land to do my own comedy special with people throwing in $400. Like, that's wild. That gets around the usury system and freaks people out. I did build my own, social media and cultivated an authentic audience where I have like real relationships with these people. Like, I did start a farm, but like, I didn't invent any of this shit.
Right.
Like, I didn't invent farming or having a big family. That's why I liked some of the Tucker insights, because he's got that old WASP New England knowledge shit that I'm like into too, where he's like, men don't complain. I'm like, oh man, I complain a lot.
Right.
Like, that was getting me pumped. Even though he was like, you don't have to take off your shoes. I'm like, you gotta fucking take off your shoes. But that was still a good point. When he was like, no, you're welcome in my house. I'm like, dude, the Jap. How funny is this? The Japs, they're not even called Japanese. They're called Nepal. These are the spells. They're like, oh, how dare you say Jap? I'm like, it's an abbreviation of a word you invented that they don't call themselves. Like, how is that offensive?
It's like Indian.
All right. What do you like to call them?
Indian.
People of the basket.
American Indian?
Yeah, but you got to differentiate between the two. You got dot Indian and basket Indian. And then there is no real, because they're all super tribal. So like, and I was raised playing lacrosse with all these guys. They're like, no, I'm Mohawk. Like, they're super tribal.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's like Germany used to be that way. It's like, no, we're Bavarian. We're Prussian. Like, what the fuck is Germany? They're always rebranding, homogenizing zones. That's why you go all the way down to the individual, then the kin. That's where kind comes from. The word kind is how you are to your kin, like those that you know. And it's like, you really are, you feel better around your own culture and your own kind, because you know the signs that you've offended someone, you know the bonding mechanisms. It's just like easier. And that's where kindness comes from. And another culture that's just as valid, like, you just don't know. You're like, dude, I didn't take off my shoes. Is this sushi guy going to fuck me up now? You know what I mean? Like, I used to work at a Japanese restaurant. They thought I was funny, but they thought I was just a total animal, like Godzilla or some shit. They'd be like, you are so tall. They're like, you so big, Godzilla. They tip $1. I'm like, to us, that's super offensive. They're like, oh, I give you $1, very good. I'm like, it was a $500 bill, bro. I'm like, dude, you're all about the bonsai tree and shit. Do I just tell you how fucked up that was? But they're good people. When they get hammered, one of them wanted to like climb on me. Like, no, they like the little guys. They think giants are like playthings. But I respect Japanese culture a lot. It's very clean.
I have two for you that are interesting. One thing I noticed that it wasn't talked about a lot on your Tucker podcast was you kept saying the words neocon over and over again. Was there something
It's a
there?
spell, but yeah, neoconservative. It's just all nonsense. Like, what are you conserving? It's like, so Trotsky comes to America. They split off from the Bolsheviks. He starts that whole movement, which is pretty much just an Israeli Bolshevik movement, which is fine. But it's like, it's funny when, liberals don't let you do shit and conservatives don't conserve shit. And then anytime there's a modifier, you're just getting into more and more nonsense. And so neocon is just like that group of people that at any cost just want wars. And that's pretty much it.
Why?
I mean, if I wanted to take accountability, I'd say a lot of our economy is based on Lockheed Martin and shit. And to sell weapons, you need to have wars. And they're terrified if people don't have retirement that they're going to rebel. And I don't know, or just they're nuts.
Do you feel some type of guilt saying things that some people might take as external problems instead of be able to take accountability in their life? Like, you seem hesitant to want to say anything that would spark fear in someone, or like make them
like an
feel
external
like
fear.
Yeah, or make them feel like they don't have like control over something.
But I truly believe that.
Yeah, I
truly believe that. I'm not just trying to pump people up. It's crazy when you kind of see it, where you're like, oh, it's all a choice. And I'm not like narcissistic in the sense that I'm responsible for all the greatness in the world. It's just like, you always have a choice. Like, I know some people that have had some real wild rides. The only way out is accountability. Like, if you're like, vet PTSD, addicted to opioid, you have all this shit, you were beaten as like all these things, sex abuse, all this. The one thing that gets you out is just to forgive and take accountability, or else you don't get out. So like, I know it helps, but I know it hurts, because it does. You have all these memories of people that did shit to you, and like, threats and all these, but we imagine so much. Like we never see it. You know, so much shit is imagined in our heads. Like, because I've had some horrific shit happen and it doesn't even scare you when it happens as much as you think. It's thinking about it. They learn that in war, social engineering. If you actually bomb a people, they almost lose the sense of fear with death because they see it. They're like, oh, and they feel it like frees them in a way. They like rumors of war. It's in the Bible. They want it over the hill. They want you to imagine it in your head. Right? That's why they never gave us a mask. They're like, you buy it, you make it yours. Like, make it your mask. Like, no one ever fucking sent us a mask. Right? Because it's like, you connect with it because you're imagining it. When you actually fucking go at someone, the risk is you free them because they're like, oh, I see that you don't have any. You ever see that movie, Revolver?
Mm-mm.
Oh, bro, you got to see Revolver. It'll blow your mind. And it's Jason Statham and shit. And it's like one of the most profound movies ever. There's this, I can't even do it justice, but there's scenes that are just about this when he realizes that the monster has no control and it's like mind blowing. They don't have, because it's like, fear me. And it's Ray Liotta. And by the end, and he's like supposedly this powerful guy, he's like, fear. He's like, fear me. And he starts like breaking down. He's like, fear me, fear me. And like not fearing them and forgiving and not even being angry. It, like they have to face themselves and then it all like goes away. It's fucking nuts. It's very like electromagnetic. It's like without the polarity, what does it do?
Right. Fear is the thing that gives the thing power.
Yeah, I like Dune. Fear is the mind killer. It's so true.
What do you think of David Icke?
Weird jacket. I'd like to. I'd honestly like to ask him about soccer at this point. Like I don't even give a fuck about because I just started liking soccer because my kids play soccer, so I started watching the World Cup, and now I respect it.
Mm.
And so I just want to ask him shit about soccer. Because he's like a professional soccer player. Like his reptilian, like he gets pissed at, calling out the shills. I went through that and everything, but like, what does it really do? Where it's like.
Sells books.
Right. And it's like, so they're reptiles. What does that mean? Like, they need a heat lamp or like, and I'm not trying to knock the dude. I'm like, but what do I do with that? Like, what does that mean? Like nuclear bombs not being real. What do I do with that? I don't have to fear the future. I don't have to scare the fuck out of my kids. I can have children. I can plan long term. I don't have to like put all this focus and energy into this little group of people I've never met with a button in a desert. Like there's objectively good shit that happens. But like they're actually lizards. Legitimately maybe. But like, okay, so can you like do something to their tongue or something? Like what is that? How does that do for me? Like I briefly thought I was a Nephilim because I had like 9 wisdom teeth and I'm fucking huge. And I'm like, no, there's no way. But imagine like realizing you're a lizard person, but you're like a pretty chill dude. Like I had a ton of teeth. I'm fucking huge. And I do kind of like base 6.
What's base 6?
They say the 6-fingered, they all have 6 fingers, but to me, I think that's how they count.
Right.
Yeah, because, because a base 12, it's just so much more elegant with the fractions and stuff. And I'm like, fuck. And I don't think I'm a Nephilim, though. That's my N-word. I'm a fallen angel because I'm tall. Like, people say that shit to me all the time. Dehumanizing.
After you were deplatformed briefly, someone filed anonymous reports and CPS, Child Protective Services, showed up at your door.
Yeah.
You said you got on your knees and prayed to God.
Yeah. I was like, occasionally in your life, you have those like real praise. You have like the dinner prayers, and then you have those ones that are fucking like real. That was a real one.
I had that on the flight here.
You did?
Yeah.
What was it about the flight?
Yeah, I was like, I haven't prayed in a while, but like I'm praying right now.
Bro,
like, this is
and don't get me wrong, I haven't like beat fear. I'm fucking super scared of flying. I hate flying. But but again, like I don't want people to walk away thinking I've like beaten fear. I always face it. But
you
like,
live your life in a way that you try to build frameworks around.
Yeah, and I acknowledge it. I just look at it and I go, oh, that's a fear. Like, is it statistically reasonable? Have more people died from fucking toaster ovens? Why is it that I'm afraid? Is it because I watch so many movies? It's because, it's like, but
I was thinking about that recently. I was like, why am I afraid of sharks? I'm like, it's literally just because of Jaws.
Me too. I was afraid in a YMCA swimming pool as a kid of sharks. I was afraid of AIDS at 9. No, I like know this because I know fear. It's like Bane. I'm like, I know the scam.
Right. It's the ultimate scam. It's the only scam.
It's the only scam. Dude, I pay all my taxes. That's one thing I never want to fuck with. But like, isn't it funny? People keep saying death and taxes, death and taxes. It's like, those are the only two real things. I'm like, are they?
What was the prayer you said?
I just was like genuinely telling God that I love my children and help me be strong.
What happened that night?
It was like nothing. It was like my biggest fear. And that just went away because my wife was such an angel, man. I was like, but they could say this and they could take our kids and they could, because I had these like thoughts and visions in my head. And she was like, but you're a good father. And I'm like, I know, Normie. But like they could blah, blah. And she goes, but you are a good father. And I'm like, I know, but they could. And then she was just reiterating, but like the truth is you are a good father. And I was like, you're right. I am a good father. And that's when it actually freed me. That's the thing. That's the issue with these things that people do. I'm like, they're God's children. I'm the guardian of them. I will do my best. And I was like, oh my God. Because I was like, if they get taken, it's on me. And I'm like, no, my job is to be the best father I can. Everything is God's. And I was like, oh, and I wasn't like not stressed, but I started seeing the system for what it was. And the CPS guy was totally cool. I started being like, man, he seems stressed out. He was like a nice guy. And in my mind, they were going to like pull my children out of my house. And then I'm like, have I ever known anyone that's had the CPS take their kids? And I'm like, I know it happens, but like, is it a boogeyman story? You know?
This is a weird one. Have you ever thought that someone was monitoring your spiritual state?
Yes. Yeah. I've had that feeling. I just don't have anything else for that, but I've had that feeling. Yeah. Dude, I have a buddy though. I've never gotten into hallucinogens. I've done a few. I've like had small amounts of mushrooms and I had a lot when I was in high school. It was pretty interesting. But I had a buddy that did the whole gauntlet, India, ayahuasca, all that. And he said something so interesting. I was like, do you still do that shit? He goes, oh, no. I'm like, why? He's like, it's all CIA shit. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, you do ayahuasca. And I started looking around. He's like, this is a construct. This is all CIA shit. And I'm like, how? He's like, I think they program frequencies. And I can't conceive of that because I don't have very many psychedelic experiences under my belt. But that kind of blew my mind where there could definitely be consciousness frequencies where someone can tweak it with frequencies, you know?
Right. Like if you can build a simulation, what's the portal for getting into it, you know?
Right. And I think a lot of it's frequency. Like as a piano teacher, like right now I'm getting really into like the connection between frequency and light and geometry.
Mm.
And I really do think Tesla, when he said everything's like frequency, it's like, I think there's so much truth to that. Like matter's all empty space. Like, what does that mean? You know? It's like a music. It's like a note.
That's what I've never been able to wrap my head around. I feel like a little too autistic for the whole frequency thing. But could you try to explain
it?
Yeah.
Okay. So when people say like the Schumann resonance of the earth, like, because everything has a natural resonant frequency. Like, I'll show you. So that doesn't sound like a note, but like that's a note. Anything with cavitation of any empty space has a resonant frequency, which means if there's any impact, it makes it a note with a frequency, like how many hertz per second. And just like you tune a piano, like when you like hit a certain note and like a glass vibrates, it's because that resonant note is what you're doing, right? And so that's how things can happen at the same time in a strange way. Like you hit a tuning fork, another one starts vibrating, right? And so this is when things get nuts. And I can't fully put this together, but this will help your concept. So Schumann resonance of the earth is like 7.3 hertz. So that means the earth itself, when lightning strikes it, makes a sound that's just below our hearing ability. Like the lowest note on a piano is like 20 hertz. It's like 7. It's like close. And then there's harmonics. So the earth has a frequency, and then you look at the harmonics to it, all right? Then you look at the frequency of light, and this is why the photon fucks with me, why I'm like, I get so pissed off about Einstein, but like red is 44 octaves above, right? So just think about that and just let your mind kind of hang with that. And I can't like really hammer that down, but like the frequency of the color of red is just so high that you can't hear it, but you can conceive of it. Like every octave doubles the frequency. So let's say this C is 20, the next one's 40, 80, 160, 320. It's all like exponential every octave. And so you can octave up higher and higher and higher until you get into a frequency of color spectrum. You know, you have radio waves, infrared waves, you know, then you have visible light spectrum, all that. And then you get into shape, where like a certain frequency with different overtones has that amount of sides of a shape, and it like dances a bit and it looks like a star. And that's where I'm at right now. And I'm like, the Bible says that you know, that Lucifer was like the conductor of the choir of the angel. And you start looking at the stars and you're like, it looks like almost like a song. And then people accuse me of autism. But I get it. It's like, because they haven't explained matter to me properly.
They also don't show what stars actually look like. Like they look like this, right? Like they're kind of in and out.
Dude, they dance and they're geometric. Cathedrals all look kind of like star shapes, but like stars like move. They look like light in water. And they look like cymatics when you put sound on like a plate with sand, it'll start making shapes. And those shapes are the exact shapes of these cathedrals that like are using sound. This is when shit gets nuts. Okay. So there didn't used to be clocks the way we think. Every single city or town had a direct noon. And like every foot has a different noon. Like 30 miles away is a different noon. And so they would tune the bells to that exact noon. And then all the bells of the day, you wake up, you go to work, this bell, it wasn't even about the hour, it was about the sound. And the cathedrals would try to match the geometry of the sound of the bell. And think about the harmonics of a civilization that's like the morality, the geometry, the sound, and the culture is all in harmony, right? And that's like, and then we register that as beautiful because beautiful sound is harmonic, dissonant is ugly. Right? Like Obama's library is, you just are like, that's ugly. Like modern architecture is ugly. Why? Because it's dissonant. Like in music, a third, a fifth, an octave, it feels good. Canon in D, Amazing Grace. And then you have these like intense jazz sounds because the waves are hitting each other in a way where they're like fucked up. It's like a shape that doesn't work properly. It's not a honeycomb, you know? And so light, matter, and sound are all completely related.
When you think about frequencies in light and sound, like, what do you make of dreams? Do blind people dream?
Great. Oh my God, dude. That's the thing lately. I don't know what dreams are, man. Because every morning I ask my kids, we always talk about our dreams. And some of my kids have these elaborate dreams. And sometimes I don't dream. Sometimes I dream and they're like fragmented. I'm like, where do we go, man? You know, it's like I have some of the most profound combos with my kids. Like they'll dream about stuff that they haven't seen. You know, and I'm like, what is it? I don't have the answer, but it's super. We don't know why we sleep.
Right.
But we like definitely have to, or we go totally nuts. Like, where do we go? You know?
Yeah, that dream thing has always interested me because it's like, how are we producing, like, because you see in your dreams, it's like, how are we producing light?
Does that make sense? Dude, the whole blind thing, because then how does the blind person
sound
communicate to us?
Where do those frequencies come from?
Right, exactly. But like, how could a blind person be like, they had a red dress? Like, what if they see light in the dream, but don't know how to communicate it because they don't see in this? Like, then the communication thing is like, how could you describe what you saw in your dream? But this is why I say there's no bad word. You see where I'm at with the bad, like, you can't say Jap. Like, to me, that's like a B flat, you know, it's like an octagon. Like, it's like it's a song. You know, and then a lot of spells are about the nature of the flow of this. That's like limericks and rhymes and rap and poetry and trance music and all this. Dude, it's like it puts you in a harmonic state. And one way that they do it is a beautiful song with real fucked up lyrics. Because you emotionally are like, this is good. It feels like a cathedral symmetry. And the words are like horrifying. But then that gets past a gate. And then you start internalizing that and you think the world's nihilistic and hellish, you know? Like Hallelujah by, like the music is unbelievable and the words have a lot of despair. And because I love that song, but like the lyrics are all about despair and hopelessness. Like the one written by the Grabbler there, the Cohen one, not like the other one. It's like, it's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. But you're like, this is beautiful. But the things he's saying is really strange.
I feel like a lot of the best songs are like that, which is
Yeah,
interesting.
because the music is what makes them the best song. And then the words, and he will say true things in them. So you resonate with it, but there's just this underlying sense of like ingratitude and hopelessness. Like they're not grateful.
Right. It's like the emotion being expressed too.
Yeah. Like like God needs to be corrected. That's the nature of cultures that I think feel a lot of despair is like, God is wrong, I must fix it, versus like, I'm just happy to be here. I'm learning as I go, you know?
Do you think a lot about the subconscious? I know that's a word that really isn't even defined, but
Totally. I don't have a natural internal monologue. People are
really?
like, but I can do it. Like I can do it, but I don't naturally. Some people have a constant thing going where they're like, said the guy with, whatever. I'm usually not like, I don't have anything going, but then I can picture things and hear whatever I want, but it's like not just going, you know?
If I say red apple, what do you think of?
Red apple.
But what does that mean?
For me, it was red delicious for some reason. And I just saw like a flash of a red apple.
Was it one that you've eaten or like iconography?
Iconography.
Yeah.
I have an orchard and it wasn't even that.
That's an interesting one. That's a test I do on people to tell if they're autistic.
What is that?
Apparently, if you picture one that you've seen before, it's larger sign that you're autistic.
Really?
Probably some bullshit, but
no, it's cool. I don't even know if autism is like, it's almost like a pejorative for people that are just like into details.
yeah.
Like sometimes people, I like kind of jokingly will say we're autistic because we're just like trying to figure out what words mean and we just like want the details. It's like a funny word, autistic.
Right.
It's like, what does that mean on the spectrum? Like, isn't everyone by definition on a spectrum? And then they're like, see, that's autism. I'm like, how though? That's just a fact.
That's just testosterone.
Yeah. It's like everybody's on a spectrum. That's the definition of a spectrum. I think that's why they hate Down syndrome people, because I think they're angelic.
I've thought about that.
Yeah, because it's like, why would you abort a Down syndrome? Because they're like, oh yeah, we had to abort, or, we had to put him on the short bus. I'm like, dude, listen to that guy. He's always fucking crushing. Down syndrome people, it's like they can't really sell them on shit. They're like, but I got a spoon. They're like, they have that nature of a child in a way that I find very inspiring.
That is interesting. They seem to be the happiest people.
Dude, they crush it. They're like, I don't trust that guy. A belt. I like vibe with that because it's like I used to do bits about that, about how hard it is to get people happy. And then certain people that are mocked by society, why are they mocked by society? Because they don't need anything from them.
That's an interesting one too, about what you said about the internal monologue. Something I've noticed myself doing recently is trying to like not think. And maybe someone said this about retard maxing on the internet, but it's just like, I think that if you don't think, it's just a sign that you're not anxious about anything. There's like nothing to solve. You are just present.
Yes. I try to retard max a lot. I try to stay present. Because people will be like, oh, that means you're not analytical. I'm like, no, I can. I just try not to because that takes me out of the moment.
Right. It's like you're trying to disagree with something, because you have to.
And I'm thinking about something else that is definitely in a degraded form than whatever is definitely in front of me. Because I had a very intellectual father. So I know what it's like to be around someone who's in the ivory tower in their mind all the time. And it's like, dude, you didn't fish with your kids, man. Like, that's like the best thing ever, And so that's one thing that I try to watch out for is that the prison of the intellect,
What's the one thing you want to teach your kids before they grow up?
Dude, that's such an intense question. What do I want to teach the kids before they grow up? I mean, that they're enough is always the go-to. Dude, I hate to say it, I don't know, which is kind of a weird thing to admit as a father, because you always want to know, but like, I don't know right now. Like every day there's something I want to teach them and guide them and all that stuff, but like the overall, I can't narrow it.
I guess if they were sitting here 20 years from now, I'm still doing this. And I said, what's one thing Owen taught you? What do you think they'd say?
All right, dude. I want to talk about a dream. I once had a dream that I always remembered, and it makes no sense, but I find it very deep and powerful and emotional. It was and I don't know why, but it was the start of a book written by one of my sons in the future. And the only line I remember is my father was born a slave. And I was like, I just kept like thinking about that. I'm like, what does that imply? Right? Like that he was no longer a slave, right? And I just kept thinking about that. It's like, maybe right now it would be that like, since they're kids, it would be in a nice way, but I would teach them about like the field of dreams. Like you really can do what you are here, you know, which is a way of taking full accountability, you know, where it's like, this place has so many potentialities and like who you can love and what you can see in the future. And like, I want them to be okay with having things like unfolding in front of them, you know? And I think the field of dreams metaphor is cool versus like, it's all on you. I don't want to put that on them right now, you know? Where it's like, you know, because they don't naturally externalize shit anyway. And I don't tell them that there's a fake moon land or any of that shit. I just say, what do you think it is? I don't want to indoctrinate them in the other direction because I don't really know. And I don't want them to be like paranoid that the world's lying to them. I just want them to look at a commercial like, what is it trying to sell me? Like, what do I think the moon is? What do I feel? What does it look like to me now? I like to say I'm a two-hill earther. I see two hills, right? It's like, right now, what do you see? It's like, there's two hills. And that seems to be my way of doing it with the kids because I definitely don't want to be like, yeah, and then they fucking shot Kennedy because of silver and the fucking, you know, because that would just make it like they're so pumped about life. Like they like cops and shit. Because why wouldn't you? It's like, oh yeah, they try to keep order in society, you know? Because victim consciousness perpetuates. I had like black friends in LA. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? They're like, when you grow up, if you get pulled over, they're going to kill one of you. I'm like, statistically, no fucking chance. And now they're going to act weird when they get pulled over. And then it's going to start the whole cycle where it's like, and then the cop's going to be like, why are you acting fucking weird? You got like something versus like a lot of like quote unquote whites are like, oh, hey, officer, I was actually trying to find the exit. And they're like, oh, no problem. Because I'm not afraid of them. So when you instill fear, like statistically, the odds are zero that they will just be randomly killed by a cop, right? And so I try to do that for my kids too, because I could fucking lay all that shit on them. And I'm just like, no, just crush. Toil max. How about this? Be like, it doesn't matter what your nose looks like. You don't have to chop off your nose. Just don't lie. Like the fact Clavicular got a nose job is wild to me. It's like, he's the only guy I know. It's like only Jewish women get nose jobs. I've never known a guy to ever get a nose job. Like, it's like, oh, I want a smaller nose. It's like, who gives a fuck? You breathe more oxygen. You just don't want it looking like Pinocchio.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I know Braden, and
is he cool?
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Is he on that level of just like troll
He's a
max?
genius, yeah.
Yeah, is he kind of a genius?
Yeah, he's definitely a genius. He's the kind of guy that if you ask his IQ, he won't tell you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But that also, like, you can be a truth seeker and tell it. Because, like, hiding it is strategically better. Like, I was telling that to somebody. I'm like, if I was trying to fucking use it, I'd say it was like 90 and it's fun being in Arkansas, you know? Because then you have an advantage. Of course, I know the unfrozen caveman lawyer. I'm just a caveman. You ever see that on SNL? I fell on ice. Your world scares me. But what I do know is my client deserves $4.7 trillion, you know? Of course, but I don't care. You know, like I'm not trying to accumulate resources. I want to fucking know what it is. So, but if you're trying to be strategic, of course, like, yeah, dude, I don't resonate bad with that dude. I'm like, that was funny. I'm like, is he fucking a psychopath? I don't know. Kind of genius. That's weird. That's funny. I don't have any negative feeling to it. I don't feel like he's a sadist or like he seems like just like super autistic, the product of the algorithm world, and he's like winning at it.
Owen, last question here. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Vince Vaughn, make it count. Because it's like our upbringing, right? Nihilism, get sex, like get money. No one ever told me to be a fucking dad, even my own dad. And so I'm touring with Vaughn in Hollywood. He's the only guy that was like mocking me for not having kids. And it like every Father's Day, I thank him. He's like, baby, you got to start making it count. Don't keep pulling out like a coward. You got to fucking make it, you know. And I was dating Amy, my now wife. And I'm like, yeah, why don't I do? Like, why am I constantly pulling out and, you know? And like, that was the best advice I've ever gotten was just like, be fertile.
Don't pull out.
Don't pull out. Metaphorically, all over the world. Yeah, it's like, don't pull out, right?
Huh.
Don't pull out.
Be fertile and multiply. That's interesting.
Yeah, I always say, be fruitful, multiply, don't be fruity and blow guy at the end of streams, because it's like, it's funny, but it's like, it was the best advice I ever got. And some people might not want kids, and that's totally cool. I just want to pass it on, because it's weird it never clicked. Where it's like, yeah, why? Like, I'm amassing some money and I like some status and all this stuff. Like, why? Like, aren't I supposed to now start building like the family? And then I was like, man, that's cool. And so that was great advice. Like, don't be like having a family. And even though like prices are insane and kids help, like it's not like that. Like having kids broke, it like motivates you. Like, dude, because I can't fail. Like I easily could be like totally a failure right now. Having kids, I'm like, oh no, the boats have been burned. I have to succeed. And I'm way more successful from that. And I want to see the youth just have massive families. I want to see all that programming just fucking fail. You know, just have these like big, successful I see so much of that in the youth. A lot of good things about the young culture where a lot of people are choosing these things. Like my grandparents lived these based lives, but they're probably like dreaming of hot tubs and shit. You know, like young people right now are like, it's good like to grow this thing or to do this. Like they're choosing it. A lot of our based ancestors fucking had to because they were broke. So some of the youth I'm actually inspired by, I'm like, they're just doing it like because it's right.
What's the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
The worst piece of advice I've ever received. Because I'd have to believe it. Because I shrug off like endless bullshit. But like something that I've internalized. Oh man. There's big concepts, but I don't remember a single like piece of advice where I like that. Keep pulling out. I don't know. The idea. I got nothing, man. What's yours? What's the worst piece of advice you ever got?
Oh man, it's a cop-out answer, but it's like most advice. Just most everything you hear. I don't think that people can actually receive advice. I think you have to put it together yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and a lot of people, even if they mean well, they're just basically talking in an image of themselves. Like they're just like, you need to be blah, 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 but like they're not trying to look through your eyes at all. You know, where you're like, well, imagine me doing that. Like, what would that be like for me? You know? Because sometimes people are like, you can't be so abrasive with people. I'm like, well, you know, I am a comedian whose job is to make jokes about people. Like, how do I do that functionally? Like, logistically, how do I not offend some people when the nature of my job is literally to do that? That's why a lot of times, like this podcast, people be like, man, you come across really cool. I'm like, this is me. When you do a joke, you're supposed to get the thing, you know? It's like telling a mechanic, it's like, just don't have like grease on your hands. It's like, how would I do that?
I had to ask you about, your Wikipedia page. Have you read your Wikipedia page?
Yeah, it changes constantly. I could write a book on just how it's changed. Because they would post stuff that they thought was, because it's all about laundering slander, right? Yeah. So it's like, according to like nonsense, and then out of context, slander people. And they kept posting things that it would either come true or obviously be funny. So then they would have to post stuff that wasn't funny. And now they say I'm like part Jew because the whole world shifted. And now that's the thing to discredit me. Isn't that fascinating? My dad's mom's dad, we think, is a Jew. And they're like, wow, he's admitted to Czech heritage of Jew. Because now, because they're like robots, they're empty vessels. They're like, if you say he's a Jew, people won't like him as much now because everything's shifted.
Has that affected your life? Like, how does it affect your life?
What,
to have
Wikipedia?
people read your Wikipedia and it's like, Owen Benjamin is a conspiracy theorist, anti-Semite, racist. It said something along those lines. Like every single label.
Dude, you're going to laugh at this. The funniest thing is the only problem I've ever had is sometimes it draws the wrong people. Where I have to explain like, no, I'm not your guy. Like, I'm not the white guy. Like, because they're like, finally, brother. And I'm like, oh. Because then they get mad at me. They're like, you just made fun of the I'm like, I make fun of fucking everybody. I'm a comedian. They're framing me this way. You know, it's like, yeah, I'll admit that, like, I don't consider conspiracy theorists an insult, or like anti-Semite, I think is nonsense. You point out central banking, you're full of it. Like, obviously, but I'm also not like the super identitarian, like, we built the cathedrals guy. I'm like, no, you can help me build stairs. And so that's the only pushback I've had. A lot of cancellations. They'd send that to any theater and they'd use that as a way to launder me. But most people find it awesome. They're like, dude, based. Dude,
That's
a lot
hilarious.
of people used to be like, did you write that? And I'm like, no, I'm trying to get it fucking deleted. And they're like, it makes you sound awesome.
Do you suspect anyone was a time traveler? I have to end the podcast here, but
I think, okay, I only in the spirit realm of like in that realm. I don't think people's bodies go into something in travel time, but I think that people may be able to like be outside of linear time in a different realm, but I don't understand how it works. But I'm open to that possibility.
that could be what OCD is. You're talking to yourself from the future.
I know.
Who knows? But Owen, where can people find you, and where can people buy your book?
Well, the good news about being kicked off of everything is I had to build my own shit. So ladle.tv, it's $9.11 a month, so you never forget. And it's everything I've ever made there, like everything. I have my own servers, all that shit, which is great because they back me into a corner to be productive. And then How to Slay a Wizard on Amazon. It's right now #1 in rhetoric, which is the wizard category. And then owenbenjamin.com for everything else. And yeah, just wherever. And just make sure you like and share this page because I love all your shit, man. It's really good.
I appreciate that, man.
You're like genuinely interested in people, and that's oddly rare in this line of work. And so keep crushing.
I've heard that a little bit. Yeah.
No, you seem like, and Tucker's like that too. It's like you want to actually know shit.
That's my favorite thing about him, like watching his
Dude,
interviews.
it's
is I'm
magnetic.
like,
You're like, I want to know, and then it draws it out of the person versus some people are just always monologuing, you know? Which is fine, but just do a monologue job, you know?
Right. Well, everyone, this has been your guest, Owen Benjamin. This is the Jack Neel Podcast.
Thanks for having me, Jack.
I appreciate you coming on, brother.
That was fun. That was a good one.